and welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Kandrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will,
My name is Jonathan.
and we are the Yerky Boys. This is it, the big finale. The TV show is gonna be over after this one. The last episode where we review the TV show of Animorphs. The last one. This
Go
is
ahead.
Changes, parts 1 through 3. The last half of
That's
season
right.
2.
That's right. These episodes either aired in September of 1999 or April of 2000. Possibly both.
Probably both, I would guess.
Well, IMDb says that... Oh, sorry, I got some indigestion or something. Oh, shit. We'll cut that out. We don't want to... Listeners wouldn't like to hear that. Oh, feels like...
Jesus, dude.
I can feel like some bile
my
come up in
God.
my throat, you know what I'm saying?
I don't like the sounds I'm hearing over here.
Anyway, IMDb said that the episodes aired out of order in Canada.
Oh, really?
That's what it says on IMDb.
That's funny. Either way, it does look like these all aired on separate weeks. These were not like all premiered at once, like the front. Not the front. That was last time. Like I don't remember last.
One of them did that, maybe.
Face Off. Face Off.
Right.
It was another F.
We don't really know. We think that's maybe what happened with Face Off. We don't really know. It happened with the pilot. I'm pretty sure the first 2 episodes aired together.
Yeah. Well, this wasn't like that.
So yes, didn't we make a rule, like a decision that, since if the episodes aired apart, we'd cover them separately, but if they aired together, we'd cover them together?
Did we make that rule? We probably should have considered it.
I think unofficially that was sort of the justification. I think originally you weren't sure about combining episodes or splitting them, and I think we were like, these ones did air apart, but we broke that. Look, here's the thing. I just want to be done with this show. I don't care if this episode is 4 hours long. I just want to, after today, be finished.
Yeah, I mean, that is really the 2 points here. Because number 1 point is that having watched this episode, I can solidly say that if I had seen this before, I would have said, let's do this as 3 separate episodes. This should not be a one, like all at once. That's just not, that does not follow the format of the episodes. However, A, we already said we were gonna, and B, you're right. I would rather just crank out a fucking, monster of an episode and be like, listen, TV show, done. We're done. I don't want to get hyped up to be done with the TV show and then be like, by the way, we got another month.
Like, yeah, right. Do listeners maybe they do, but do they really want us to do 2 hours on each of these episodes instead of 1 hour on each crammed together? Like, just trust me. This is for your benefit. It's for the better of all of us. You don't want more than this. We don't want more than this.
We're going to see. We're going to see if we can stick to 1 hour per episode.
Yeah, well, we're not doing no sharing this week. We're not doing any business. We can only focus on these episodes because it is a 3-parter, and you kind of alluded to it, but I'm going to also just say, obviously, it is a 3-parter, and yes, there are connections between each episode, but as far as 3-parters go, these are some of the least connected parts.
Yeah.
Like there's each of these episodes has its own very distinct storyline with it kind of just feels like if you were watching a normal TV show that wasn't standalone episodes, like how, yes, they acknowledge things that happened in the previous episode, but that doesn't mean that they're parts of one storyline,
Yeah, or like the very last shot of an episode is a cliffhanger for the next one that is its own storyline, and the only connective tissue is that cliffhanger, which is reiterated at the beginning of next episode, type of thing. Like the way, or like I'm gonna put a scene or two of an arc plot into every episode, and then conclude it, at the mid-season point or something like that. Like it's that sort of thing, right? As you said, it's a lot more how you would make a TV show.
Right.
and less like a three-parter.
It's just normal. Like, it's just
Right.
how television is. But I guess for a kids show and for this show in the year 2000, that was not as common, so they felt
I
like they needed to say that.
I don't know that it is not as common. I really don't know what to make of it. Like, maybe they thought they had to make a three-parter, and then they
I
I
mean,
don't know.
in general, I guess it's still. I think for kids shows, it's not super common. Like you get your here and
Yeah,
there,
sure.
like like anime will do it, obviously, or you know, Avatar: The Last Airbender kind of a show. But most kids shows don't have continuity in that way. I would say.
Yeah, and that is more common nowadays. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. It's just very strange to me because that it is a three-parter. Because like even with that in mind, there is still a sense to me of like it doesn't feel like the connective tissue had to span 3 episodes for any of these storylines, right? Like, it feels
Right.
like you could take the setup for the part 3 like, all the parts in parts 1 and 2 that set up the storyline in part 3 could have just been in part 3, and it would have been easy to do that. It's it feels like they intentionally wanted a three-parter, but they just didn't have one.
Like like a big part of these episodes is that there's a school dance, and it doesn't it only matters in. I
Big,
mean,
quote,
I
unquote.
guess it comes
Yeah,
into play in the first 2 episodes a little bit, but they could have just saved it all for episode 3. It wouldn't really
right,
affect the plot.
right. I mean, on that note, I think, 2 episodes ago, I listed off a whole bunch of, possible plot lines they could do, and turned out to
Mm.
be wrong because they didn't do anything like that. I wish I'd said that as my prediction for this episode because it would have been closer to the truth, which is that they just throw a lot of different plot lines at you, and some of them are ones that I
Mm.
might have even mentioned, I don't know.
I
Uh,
was, I think I had kind of a spot on guess for this,
oh, what did you I
the
don't even remember what you said.
I'm pretty sure it's possible I didn't say this exactly, but last week when we predicted, I
Mhm.
said, "Oh, I based on changes. Oh, I think there's gonna be some kind of like metaphorical, like personal teenager thing happening." And I think one of the options I threw out was school dance.
Okay. Yeah, because I do remember saying, like, "Oh, there might be a big event at the school," like, last time, which is sort of true, but it's not really like the big storyline, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
well,
one of them, I guess. It yeah, it feels like I would have been more spot on had I just thrown out a million possible plot lines. Oh well.
one thing that is certainly true. I don't know. We'll see how we feel by the end of it. I guess maybe I shouldn't be so sure about it, but it doesn't feel like quite like a series finale or even maybe a season finale. Um, but it's not as if we were kind of wondering how much did they
Mhm.
know if the show was going to end. I still don't know the answer to that question, but it's not like in this episode, oh, they defeat the Yerks. That doesn't
Right.
happen.
Right. Yeah, I mean, some of the bits of these plots could have been like mid-season conclusions, or even if it was,
It
yeah,
feels
I
like
don't know.
season finale, I think,
You could
level of
have.
stuff.
You
But it's
could have.
confusing because it comes so, it's such a short
Yeah.
season.
And only
I don't know.
relative to like Face Off. I don't even know if it feels just because this show's season finales
Well,
wasn't.
I think relative to this show,
Mhm.
like at least one thing happens in these episodes that is got to
Yeah.
be the biggest thing that happened. Well, at
Right.
least it's up there.
What do you want from me?
You.
Good to be back.
It's gotta do something. Maybe it's like an instruction manual. You know, a guide for how we're supposed to beat the Yerks.
This dance is a social event of the school season. If we don't show, it's gonna look pretty suspicious.
And you really think Jake's gonna see it that way?
He might if he knows he has a date.
You mean me? Rachel, I told you before, we're just friends. That's it, just friends.
I can't go.
What? Why?
Something came up. I just can't go. Okay?
No, it's not okay.
Of course we need to say the director and the writer and all that shit.
Right. So writer and director here is Ron Oliver, who did
Doesn't he
the
doesn't Ron Oliver doesn't he go on TV and talk about those fucking cheeky Animorph motherfuckers? Sorry.
I
I
kind of
wanted
knew
to do
that
it
was
one more
coming.
time. I never did it the other times we said his name, though, which is surprising.
Yeah, that is. Maybe you did, and we just forget. It's
Yeah, I
possible
blocked
you've
it
made
out.
the same joke every time, and we just don't know.
Yeah, this is a fugue state that I enter into. Continue. Yeah, Ron Oliver.
Yeah, he worked on the Run, which was when they were in the mall. He
Mhm.
worked on Underground, which is not the Underground. It was the one. It was the conclusion to the first arc, right where they're in the York Pool, and he did the Escape, which was the Underground.
So
So
this is kind of a steady, reliable guy for this show. They brought him in to do like some early episodes, some middle episodes, and here he is doing the what ended up being the conclusion of the show. And I would say like his episodes and his work is not the worst thing on
yeah,
the show. I
it's fine. It's
think he's
fine.
fine. Yeah.
Now I'm not sure. Because I feel like he was more beginning of season one. Because, like, he had episodes, what, 3, 4, and 7 from season one out of 20, right? So he was like first half of season one, and then they they just didn't call him in or whatever until
Mm.
now. I don't think that means anything. I'm just,
No.
for those of you
Yeah.
paying attention and trying to write biographies of these Animorphs writers and directors.
Right. Well, we're gonna publish a book after the show.
Right. Yeah, this is the research phase.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All of this is for our book. So, should we start on part one?
Oh, we didn't go over the people, the
Well,
actors.
sure. Well, I don't know if I mean, sure, we can. Yeah, sure. I don't know if we want to like wait until they show up because some of them are sort of.
Not if I
I don't
read
know.
off the names as they are credited.
Do whatever you feel you need to do.
I'll go through them and then we can allude back to them when they come up. We have Tom Barnett as Martin Tessmacher. We all know him. Arlene Mazzaroli as Adina
Mm,
Rose. We all know who she is. Kirsten
mm.
Johnson plays Glazer. JJ Stalker plays Harold. Boyd Banks plays a museum guard. He's credited on IMDb as a museum guard, but in the show he is named Bob Candy. George Chang plays Lee. Joel Gordon as Hugo. Sean Roberts as Skater Dude, and Arthur Eng as Mr. Goldstone. So all of your fan favorites are here.
Listeners, write in. Let us know how much you enjoyed that segment. I want to on a
10 out of
scale from
10.
1 to 10.
5
Okay,
stars. It was
that's for you. I want to hear listeners.
Literally swooning.
I'll tell you who did not play Glazer. Did you catch this goof?
I don't think I did.
I caught this goof while I was watching it, and then I saw on IMDb they actually listed in the goofs section
Oh, wow.
on in the I believe it's the first part in the credits. It says that Richard Solly plays Glazer, but that's the guy who plays Chapman. So
Right,
they just did it wrong.
we all know that's Chapman, not Glazer.
Yeah, I was so confused when I saw it because I did not remember. I still don't. I don't know who Glazer is, so maybe you'll remind me when we get there.
I will. I'll remind you when we get to Glazer.
But I was like, what, did he play a second part? And then I didn't look it up and I saw that. Oh, they just fucked up.
Yeah. What, you didn't see
That's
that
cool.
and you weren't immediately just like, I know who Glazer is, and that's not right. Don't you know
Yeah.
Glazer's a woman? Everybody knows Glazer is a woman in the books.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
Do people say glazing anymore? I feel like that was a very short window of time.
I feel like I still hear that occasionally, but I'm not a Zoomer, so I don't know.
Right, right. Nor am I.
I guess it's all about the alphas now. Right? I don't know what they say.
No, well, no, the Sigma. Oh, you're talking about the Gen.
Yeah, like the
alphas.
gens. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the lingo, it's about the Sigmas.
Well, yes, of course. No, the alphas love sigmas.
Imagine if they were Gen Sigma.
God damn.
The name Sigma. Jennifer Sigma.
Maybe they'll rename themselves.
All right. Let's start on this episode. I think we should limit ourselves to even 45 minutes. I think we should set a timer for each part so we can keep control.
There's like no way.
Let's
see what
just
we can
show
do.
some restraint. Let's just not. We don't need to go crazy here. It's within
Listen,
our power. We
this
can
is
make this happen.
the last episode of the show. People
Who
want it to
gives
go
a
out with a
fuck?
bang. They
No, they
are
don't.
hype. They're ready for a big one this week.
I can't believe they're listening, and neither can they.
All right. Okay. So part 1. Okay.
Changes. Oh, hold on. Should we? I mean, you just almost made the joke last week, but changes. Changes. I didn't do a song. Okay, great.
Okay.
Wouldn't that have been good if I did a song? That would
That
have
would
been
have
fun.
been really cool if you'd actually if you started playing it right there and you
Yeah, maybe I'll edit it in.
Yeah, maybe you will. Maybe you will. That can be. All right. Listen. We open on the Museum of Science and Technology.
Yeah.
Before we even go in, this is some insane sci-fi dystopian brutalist architecture on this building. What is this?
It's got to be a real building. Like that must be a real Canadian museum that
It's
they
gotta
just maybe
be.
they changed the title of it or something.
Maybe they didn't. Maybe it's just called Museum of Science and Technology. That's generic enough.
Yeah, that could exist.
Some small local towns shitty little museum.
Let's see, there's the Ontario Science Center. No, there's the Canada Science and Technology Museum in Ottawa.
That could
be it.
That could be it. Could be.
I'm looking on Google and it looks very, modern and well lit, so it's hard to tell.
I see.
I don't know. It's a mystery.
Yeah, so inside there's a security guard there, and we see veterinary exhibit. There's taxidermied animals. There's a mannequin dressed as a vet. Anyway, it's looking at what appears to be a stuffed dog, but after the museum security guard walks by, we find out it's Homer, and Marco's a duck because Jake and Marco have infiltrated this museum because there's an Andalite artifact here that Jake saw.
Pretty cool. Now I didn't catch that it was a real dog, but I did go, oh, what is that, Homer over there? As a joke. And then it was
Right.
Homer.
That's pretty good.
One of our last Homer sightings.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the last, I think. Yeah.
Does he show up again in these episodes?
Yeah, he shows up. There's a couple scenes where animals ride on Homer's back.
Right, of course. What have you ever been to a museum that had a veterinary exhibit?
Maybe? I don't know. That's the kind of bullshit you could put in a little. I want to do the science and technology. Here's the careers thing. 8-year-olds. Did you know that you could be a vet? And you put that in the animal section. 8-year-olds is, let's say 5-year-olds. I could see it,
I
maybe,
guess.
right?
They
maybe?
have a mannequin dressed up like a vet over a table where an animal apparently did not have a fake animal already because it's just Jake there.
Maybe they stole the
it's
taxidermy. Maybe Jake ate
it's
it.
very strange. This is, I guess it's science. You got to come up with a lot of exhibits that rotate. You run out of ideas eventually.
Mm-hmm.
This might hit the table some point. But it does seem like a kind of a shitty museum to me.
Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah. It's a very strange thing. There is a close-up of Homer demorph into Jake on his face. That is one of the classic GIFs that shows up if you search for Animorphs GIFs. So I was very happy to see that little Easter egg.
Oh yeah, nice Easter egg. And then there's right after that, kind of exciting, because when Marco is a duck. Did we say he's a duck?
I think we did.
He demorphs, and it is a full body morph, which I think is the first time we've seen that in season 2.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple more of them in this episode.
Couple morph of them.
Yeah. Kind of interesting. I was going to say,
what's interesting?
He's crouching down in this, right? He's crouching down on all fours, hands on the ground, so that he's in a similar duck position, but, like, that's very strange to me. Like, why is he not, like, squatting with his hands like chicken dance at his sides or something? Like, where they, like,
Well,
get like a duck, and he was like, "Alright, I'll get on all fours like a duck."
that's isn't that kind of the same logic as the covers of the books where they sort of are doing a pose that I guess those make more sense. I don't know. I don't know how a
Yeah.
duck is
I
supposed to
mean,
be.
yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I don't if you said, like, "Pose like a duck," like, you wouldn't get down on all
Mm,
fours
yeah, that's
like a
fair. You're right.
it's just strange.
It is a bit strange. Well, they have this little exchange about how come I always have to be a duck and you get to be a dog, which is funny in itself because it's like a dog is not even that exciting of an animal. It's not like
Speak for
like
yourself.
I mean, sure. He could say like how I mean he doesn't get to be a wolf in this show. That's pretty cool and also a dog. But
Yeah, he
you
does
know,
get to be a dog in these episodes. Also, a duck is a pretty cool like, you get to quack and stuff.
sure.
S
It reminded me of do you remember on Cartoon Network? I think they just did this as a bit in during commercials where they had the Super Friends and it was
mhm.
unless it's from Family Guy or something. I
No,
thought it was
no,
a
I know what you're thinking of. It was
you do.
definitely a Cartoon Network thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Wonder Twins and it's like how come I'm just all I do is turn into different kinds of water, you know?
Oh, I thought oh, no, maybe that is
Right?
some no, I feel like that's still that. I thought you were gonna do the Aquaman talk to whatever.
Hmm. I don't know about Aquaman.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, no,
It's a
I think
good
that's
show.
from somewhere, though, yeah.
I
I
remember
don't
because I'm
know.
pretty sure it was like the actual Super Friends animation that they dubbed over like Space
Yeah.
Ghost. In my memory, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no, there was, like, a whole series of those. Yeah, no, no, the one I'm thinking of is where stuff's happening and they have to call in the Powerpuff Girls to save them, but Aquaman has a line where he's like, "My ability to communicate with fish is useless, Wonder Woman," and then she rolls her eyes at him. That's what I'm thinking of.
Of course, we all remember Solomon Grundy want pants too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
That's
Who
the
could
best
forget that
one.
one?
I wonder if anyone listening to this gives a fuck about what we're saying.
Listen, this is far more entertaining and interesting to me than this Animorphs episode.
Now, let's give Ron Oliver his due.
All right.
Oh yeah, so then
Yeah.
right. As part of this exchange,
Mm,
Marco's like, "How come you don't turn into a duck?" And Jake says, "I can't afford the bill."
I like that joke. Bill jokes are good with ducks.
I kind of side with Marco on this when he says, "Let me handle the jokes."
I,
'Cause
I feel you, but I like this one.
I mean, I don't know. Something I don't like how smug he is when he says it.
Well, that's part of what makes it, right? You can't tell a joke that's stupid and not be smug about it. Then it would fall
He's
flat.
very proud of it.
Yeah. As
Yeah.
well he should be.
Where did he get this? He picks up a disposable camera. Was Homer holding that in his mouth, I guess, and he like just was hiding
Uh
it?
that's definitely around. I don't remember where it is. Hold on. I'll see if I can spot it, but I do remember they like
He
I
picks it
looked
up
for
off
it.
the same table where he was hiding as Homer,
Okay.
but like
So
I
it was either like under Homer or
but it's
yeah, he
not like it
was
was
yeah.
in his I mean, it could have been in his pocket. Didn't we establish you can morph objects?
We
Or no?
did, but when he leaves the museum, he's gonna leave it with the camera in his mouth, so presumably he can't put
Right.
it back in his pocket.
That happens later on too with a VHS tape.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not whatever. It looks like he was just sitting on it or something to hide it.
I so okay. Yeah, this is when they also and so they talk about how I saw this Andalite thing on our field trip today.
Hmm.
I don't know. I thought it might have been fun to see the field trip. Then you would
Yeah.
have like got a chance to establish, see some of the kids just talking normally, like establishing their characters, having dialogue exchanges. You know how scripts work, and
Yeah.
then you like see the revelation of holy shit, what is that? And that could have been your cold open.
So
Uh,
this whole plot line is very strange. I was thinking about talking about it later, but I might as well say it now.
sure.
So, I mean, I'll just say at this point, I did kind of guess what plot line this might be, but I was also like, I don't think they're going to do that, right? but then they
Mm.
they do. Um, which is they were like, "Oh, we found this strange Andalite artifact. We don't know what it is." And I was like, "Is this the fucking toilet thing?" That would be really dumb. But then it is. That's the thing they're doing. But they're not. Here's the thing: is that they don't. You're right. This would have been a better plot line if they had set up finding it and wondering what it was, and we get the field trip and blah blah blah, and it took the whole episode. But it's also not unreasonable to say, listen, the toilet thing is stupid. The book is dumb. Let's just have it be a throwaway opener gag, right? Where like that's the they spend before the credits getting it, and then post credits Axe says it's a toilet, haha, move on, let's establish the episode. But they don't do that. This plot runs for like the first 8 minutes of this episode before we get into like the actual important plot. And it's not really a plot. It's more just like they have this, they know about this thing.
Yeah, this whole thing feels like an early book pre-plot hijinks episode. Price cut Polly, Amazon Cafe, that kind
Mhm.
of a thing. Except that it happens to have something that I guess is sort of important. Well, at least we think it might be important. Um, yeah, I can see it working both ways. I don't think it's necessarily wrong to jump right in and have this as your opening. It's kind of exciting, and you're going, hey, what's going on? This is kind of interesting. I mean, as far as the toilet of it is concerned, I mean that we don't find that out until a little bit later.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of my
Um,
problem is that it's in this weird in between space, right? It goes on for far too long to be a fun opening, but it's also not the plot of the episode. And so, like, the plot doesn't start until much later. And, maybe we could go back to Face Off, where you could say, like, oh, well, this is a fine length for an outro to 3 episodes. So, this is a fine length for an intro to a 3 episode plot line. Except that the plot line we're going to eventually move into around the 8 or 9 minute mark is concluded in this episode. So, like, I don't it's just weird. It's just
I
I
mean,
don't it doesn't feel good.
this is not like I forgot this even happens in these episodes. This
Yeah.
doesn't none of
Yeah.
this matters. It has no bearing on anything. I thought maybe it was going to lead to the stuff that Axe is getting up to later, or that there's a
Mm.
connection, but I don't think it
Yeah.
has any connection
You know,
explicitly.
yeah, I was just like, it has no connection to anything. You said that, and I was like, "Oh, that would have been a really good writing choice. I wonder if they did that and I missed it." But,
Not even a good, just like
yeah.
an obvious, like
And
the
yeah.
bare minimum writing choice.
Yeah.
Like,
Listen, the bar is on the floor right now. It would have been really good.
yeah, I mean, okay, so later on, we're going to find out that Axe is like building something. And I thought, oh, this is maybe that thing we found in the museum was like a part for this. But then I remembered, oh no, they just said it's a toilet. So I guess that it isn't.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I mean, anyway, back to this point. Can I ask? Their plan is to break in here. They found an Andalite artifact at the museum.
Yeah.
Their plan is to break into the museum and then take a
It's
bunch
like,
of pictures of it with a disposable camera.
yeah,
Which, I mean, like, they probably could have done most of that on the field trip. It would have been fine. They have
right.
Axe could have come here. They could have just said, "Axe, what is that thing?" Like, what are we doing?
These are all great questions. But for listeners, I don't know if we made it totally clear. It's not like they found it in a back room or something. It's
No.
in an exhibit. It's on display. I don't know what it's labeled as. I don't know what they think it is in
Uh,
the museum.
I believe it is labeled as like unidentified object. There is a sign at
Great.
somewhere.
Yeah, let's put this in our exhibit, a thing we don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Cool.
strange space thing. It's in the like space room or something.
Like, where did they get it? I don't know. Who cares? Doesn't matter. I mean, I guess that goes back to fucking the book too. I don't remember the details, but yeah, it is a really good question. Why not? Why not bring Axe?
Yeah,
It's because they like Jake and Marco. So
right.
but it could have been Jake and Marco and Axe.
Could
That's
yeah,
absolutely insane.
yeah.
And yes,
Unknown
they could have
object. Yeah, that's what
they
it
could have
says.
easily taken these pictures earlier. Also, it's a pretty good thing there's no security cameras in this museum. I mean, there
Yeah.
is an alarm that goes off, but no
Yeah,
cameras.
there's so again, like Jake is like, "Oh, tilt it up so that I can take a picture of the bottom of it," and then an alarm goes off, and they're like, "Oh no, oh no." Now, so I guess their plan was not to take it because they leave it, right? They weren't prepared for the alarm. They were just going to take pictures, but they are going to mess with it to get a picture of the underside. Again, what? To show to Axe? Like, what are they going to do with these pictures? Why isn't Axe? I don't know.
They're gonna upload them on the internet for upvotes.
Right.
They're
The,
gonna
the,
send them into world's weirdest pictures.
they're not going to go very far since this thing is in a museum. Anybody could have fucking. This is not like you going on Reddit and being like, "Hey, check out this mysterious object I found." This is you doing a fucking influencer pose in front of an exhibit at a museum. Like everybody can do this.
Yeah, this would make a lot more sense if it was behind a closed door somewhere, or if
Mhm.
was labeled as something completely different, and it's like, oh, only we realize what it actually is. Which I guess is
Yeah.
maybe kind of what they're doing, but it doesn't feel
Sorta.
like it comes together.
Yeah, no, I mean, like in the books, the secret is that it's the thing that they have in fucking Area 51, right?
Right.
And also in the books, they first realize that it must be serious because they're like, how come the Yerks are trying to infiltrate there? There must actually be a thing there. The Yerks don't give a
Yeah.
shit. Like, at no point in this plot line do the Yerks realize that there is an Andalite toilet here. It's just a thing that they found, and then they're like, I wonder what it is, and then they find out it's a toilet.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out maybe the security guard is a controller. I guess he could be, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't seem to like care.
Yeah.
He says he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get fired after they
Yeah.
escape," and I'm like, "You're gonna get fired because a dog was in there?" Like,
'Cause
huh?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question actually. Cuz yeah, they run out. They're like, "Oh shit." Jake runs out, doesn't take the thing. He's just got the camera. Marco's on his back as a rat, and Mr. Bob Candy here shows up like, "Oh man, I am so
Oh, that's
fired."
Bob
Yeah,
Candy.
that's so
Oh yeah, and it
why
even
would
says
he be fired?
when he's on the. It's not just the joke. I didn't notice
Yeah.
this. When he's on the news, he's labeled as ex museum employee.
Yeah, no, it is fucking that is funny.
That is funny.
I
Bob Candy.
Yeah, I liked that, but you raise a good point. Why would he be fired? They didn't take anything, they didn't break anything. They were just there. And he didn't
How could
manage
you
to catch
let a dog in here?
he went to his boss and he was like, there was a dog in the museum after hours causing problems and I chased it out. And the boss was like, how dare you not catch that dog? And we wanted to like fucking send it to the pound. I wanted to interrogate that dog. What if that dog stole something? Like what? He did his job. He got the dog out.
Maybe they think it's a night at the museum situation. Since Sean Levy is an Animorphs guy, and he later maybe he got the idea from this
Mm,
episode.
he probably
And maybe
did.
they think that it was a dog from the vet exhibit, like a stuffed dog that came to life. So they
Right.
want their exhibit back.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna make 45 minutes an episode.
You don't think? Or remember, we started 10 or 15 minutes in, so we still have time
Right.
for this
Okay.
first
Okay.
one.
We
I'm
still have time.
honestly, I don't know, because like, how much more is there to say about this plot? It's like, it's over. Who cares about this anymore?
Well, I could say that about any of these plots, you know.
Yeah. Well, not any of them. Not like
I have important
Erek.
things to say about some of the outfits that some of these characters are wearing during this plot.
Yeah. That would make
Can't be
sense.
skipped. Uh oh, also fucking they when he comes out and says I am so fired, right? They do
Mhm.
this big old like wonk 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 type like trombone goofy sound. And this is not the first time in these episodes that they do this like ridiculous comedic sting.
Yeah, well, Bob Candy's a goofy guy.
He is a goofy. I did like him. I want more Bob Candy.
I mean, did you like in the newscast when they're interviewing him? Which, by the way, why would they? How
Yeah.
slow is the local news here that they got to interview a fired employee about a dog?
Listen, they here, you know what? This is our
What is this, the Midwest?
I was gonna say this is our fucking rebuttal right here, or my fucking rebuttal. They clearly do not live in Toronto if right, if like this is making the news. They live in fucking Nowheresville.
and the lady's like, "Oh, wasn't there's a dog and a rat?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, a rat, a rat." He says it like that. He sounds like a Tim Robinson sketch character. It's crazy. It's the weirdest delivery. A rat.
Imagine if he came back and he was one of their like antagonists they had to face off against, but he wasn't a controller. He just fucking like hates dogs now because a dog got him fired. Some fucking talking dog movie villain.
I'm gonna write a fan fiction now where the Yerks team up with Cruella de Vil.
That's a really good idea for a fan fiction. Like Visser 3's like, we don't even need to infest her. She's doing our job for us, and she just has no idea that they're alien slugs. She just thinks he's another evil guy who wants to skin puppies.
Yeah. Jasper is a controller. She doesn't know.
She doesn't know. He's just like, no, it can't be any dog. It's got to be that one. And Cruel's like, I get it. That makes sense to me. That particular dog. That's the one he wants skinned.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah. Anyway, that's not the only thing on this newscast. Right?
It isn't? What else is on this newscast?
No, isn't this where they also say that there's a missing television producer on the loose?
Oh, right. Yes. There's a missing television on the loose, huh?
Well, that's my phrasing, not theirs.
Yes, Mr. Martin Tessmacher, played by Tom Barnett, is missing. So we cut here, and we cut to Visser 3 in Andalite form in a like underground pool lair, not his Art Deco lair.
That's right.
Because they hate fun. And we see that Martin Tessmacher is here because he's been kidnapped. And Visser 3 acquires him and turns into him because, unfortunately, there is no more Eugene Lipinski. He's going to be this guy now. No more Victor Trent. No, he's fucking Tessmacher.
Yeah.
That's what's happening now.
Yeah. Before we get into that, I also want to note that the version of the newscast Visser 3 is watching is like a hologram. Instead of just a regular TV screen, it's like a blue Star Wars hologram, and the background is not there. So apparently this has like, magic erase technology. It just because it's a hologram, it's how it works. Just the guy's head. Doesn't make sense.
Strange.
Just get a TV. Why does it need to be a hologram for? Just get a TV. What is this? No, we Yerks, we only like hologram shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, and it should be mentioned, it's not like they, somehow translated the technology so it's like a 3D image of him that they somehow figured out what it was. It's literally a 2D hologram, like, just floating in midair.
Yeah, it's just, well, of course they would also watch TV, but for them it's blue.
Yeah, we don't have color in it. That's too advanced for us.
Okay, anyway. We need to break this down, as you said. We learned a few episodes ago, of course, that Victor Trent was now a wanted man for some reason.
The school blew up.
I guess it's sort of implied here because Visser 3 he acquires and morphs into Tessmacher in one clean camera movement.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like an acquire and morph in the span of like 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't actually have to show it. And then he goes, I'm back, or something like that, right? He's like,
yeah,
says something about being back. And it's like, oh, I guess he was gone for like 2 episodes, but I just assumed he was doing other shit. I didn't know he was like missing.
Yeah, he didn't feel like he was gone. And also it wouldn't really make sense for him to be like, if you're just like, oh, well, he can't show his face as Victor Trent anymore. Okay, he can still show up to the fights as Visser 3. Was he just like, I can't show my face in the Yerk pool in case a human recognizes me as Victor Trent and calls the police? Like, why isn't, I don't know.
I mean, he could morph into anyone. Anyone.
He sure could.
Now, I don't mind the concept of, oh, what if, you're taking advantage of the sci-fi and the nature of Yerks that something happens, he has to get a new host or a new
Mhm.
morph in this, I should say. Or there's some fun you can have with that. You can kind of play around with that idea. Like maybe what if every season is like a different actor? It could almost be
Yeah.
like a James Bond thing. Like every season somebody else gets to be Visser 3 and do their own take on it. It could be kind of fun. Of course, Eugene Lipinski just was so good at it and was one of the only consistently good parts of this show. So you
Yeah.
really lose something without him. It has to just be that he wasn't available. I can't
Yeah.
imagine they did this for a creative reason.
No.
I don't
Uh,
think.
yeah, I mean, 100%. This is the sort of thing, and you could do it with any of them because you can flip hosts. If they made more of an effort to differentiate between Yerks as opposed to just always saying Tom or Chapman or whatever, you could just have this kind of flip around in a long running show. That could be cool. But like, yeah, here they clearly are just doing it because for whatever he's off recording Bailey's Billions or whatever shit.
He was
Um,
doing fucking Shakespeare probably.
um,
He was playing
in this
Iago.
in this very first scene where he's like, "I'm back," and he really like hams it up. I was
Mhm.
kind of like, "All right, listen, he's no Eugene Lipinski, but I like that he's putting the effort in." I didn't really see that effort in any of the other like going forward from here. I just wasn't very impressed. Like every time I was like, he should be more snarly or weird. Like you got to bring it. He's supposed to be fucking over
Mhm.
the top. Like this guy's boring. I don't
Well, he's certainly not doing an impression of Eugene Lipinski.
know.
He's just kind of being generic, over the top, snarling bad guy. And the weirdest thing about it to me, this wasn't necessary. We set up this Vicious 3. He does show up later, but not that much. Like
Yeah, he's like barely there. It does not. It's like they're just like we wanted to bring Visser 3 back so we can use him for the rest of the season, but they don't have a rest of the season.
he could have just been an Andalite. Just let him be an Andalite. You can, if you need somebody on the ground, have it be Chapman or Tom with a walkie-talkie or cell phone.
Yeah.
You don't like what was the point of casting a new actor? Which does kind of make me think maybe they were planning on thinking they were going to make more episodes, because why go through that effort for just this one 3-parter?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like
Agreed.
it doesn't pay off. It's not like does human Visser 3 even interact with the Animorphs? I think they're
Almost.
almost yeah, they almost come face to face and they don't.
Yeah.
Like what's the point of any of it?
Yeah.
It's silly. Yeah, I mean, we won't. I think we've said all we can even say about that guy, except one thing I will say about him.
Mhm.
Tom Barnett, is that his name?
Sounds right. I could go back and check.
Yeah, I've got it. Tom Barnett. You're not going to believe this because, of course, this was the one guy I checked out his IMDb. Like, has
Mhm.
this guy done anything other than this? He's another one. Like, he's been in 1,000 one-off episodes of random TV shows.
He's got the kind of name that's just like, "Oh yeah, that's an actor name. He's probably been in something."
Sure. Well, listen to this, my friend.
Mm.
Tom Barnett played Rupert Murdoch in 2024's Oscar-nominated The Apprentice.
Pretty good. So basically
Back
played
to
the same
back.
character.
We've got, because remember, I don't remember who it was anymore, but that one guy played Ed Koch in The Apprentice.
Mm.
In case you forgot already, which it
That
sounds
one
like
guy.
maybe you did.
I did forget that. You said that one guy, and I'm like, I don't know which guy it is, but I do remember there was a guy.
It was literally either last week or the week before.
Do you remember which guy it was?
It was fuck. Well, now I'm gonna look it up. If I know it was an actor on fucking the Animorphs, you know,
Right. Yeah.
it was Ian D. Clark. It was the consumer guy. That's who it was. It was consumer guy
Yeah, of course. How could I forget it was consumer guy?
from 2 episodes ago. So that was The Apprentice. 2 Animorphs actors played weirdly significant, like, historical figures in American history. That's weird. That's weird that happened.
Sure. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and no other Animorphs podcast will talk about that because only we are doing it current enough to make that connection.
That's true. Yeah, most of them don't talk about the show at all, and any of them that did it in, say, 2023 wouldn't know. So,
Yeah, that's the advantage of playing the long game. I mean, it's cool that he played an evil TV producer in both both
right.
of those roles.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He played
Yeah.
the same fucking role. It's great.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
All right. Anyway, that's all I had to say about Tom Barnett.
Yeah. All right. That's
I think we're gonna move on to part 2.
I think
We're doing good.
all right. All right. Well, now we're at school, and hair down alert. By the way,
Oh,
um,
cool.
there are banners up. I don't really like how they've positioned this banner for the swing into spring dance. And Rachel wants Cassie to go to this dance with Jake. And she's like, "Oh, I don't know about this. The buying clothes or whatever and all that." Um,
Uh-huh.
so first of all, listen, this is not actually that bad. I don't like Cassie's outfit here. Relative to
I
some things I could complain about later, it's not that bad, but
my comment on Cassie's outfit is it looks like she just stepped straight out of the movie Clueless.
hmm.
She it's looking very what's her name? Cher, whatever her name is, Alicia Silverstone. Like it looks way too hip and
Mhm.
like fashionable and chic for Cassie.
It looks like it's trying to be way too hip and maybe it was fashionable and chic at the time. I do agree with you that it's got that kind of going on, but I really don't
I mean, listen, is anyone less
it's
qualified
Zootopia.
to comment on
right.
what's fashionable or not than us?
You're right. You're right.
But yeah,
Anyway.
I mean, that's what they're going for at
It
least.
is what they're going for. It's strange. And yeah, I mean there's a later comment that Rachel's going to make about like, "Oh my god, it's so difficult to get Cassie even like into like a store that sells makeup or whatever." And I'm just over here like, "Why are you putting her in this kind of an outfit instead of the overalls? Why are we like continuously throughout the show, we've been putting Cassie in like more noticeable makeup than Rachel wears, which like it's fine, whatever. It's TV. Who cares? But like it's not fine anymore when you now call that out as though that's a part of her personality that I'm supposed to have been aware of. Like it just feels like there's a huge disconnect between wanting to have that be an idea and, wardrobe.
Sorry, your words were so powerful. I I was just choking and coughing on them. Oh my god.
I
I
didn't
was
hear any of
choking
it,
on
so
the
it's fine.
on the truths. Oh, well, our listeners might have if I don't cut it out later. Um yes, I agree. It's kind of but however, I do think Rachel taking Cassie shopping, like that's okay. That feels like a thing that would happen in the
Yeah.
books. So that's like I'm okay with that. It's not
Yeah,
bad.
I like that they're doing it. It again, we've said it before, but it does feel like there's more to Rachel's character here, and she's like playing
Mm.
her, and they're doing that. So that is nice. It doesn't feel like they've got their presentation on board with what they're doing.
I was
That just feels like a mess.
confused by the part when she's like, "Oh, come on, Cassie, you have all that extra money from cleaning your parents' barn." And I was like, "Doesn't she just clean the barn like every day? Like isn't she
Yeah.
always in the barn? Like why is that isn't that kind of just her thing that she does cuz she likes to do it?" I don't it doesn't make sense that her parents would be specifically like, "We'll give you extra money if you clean the barn." She's fucking always in there.
Yeah. No, that's true. I don't know. That is very strange. I didn't even pick up on that, but
It was a weird. I thought it was a weird thing to say. That's okay because immediately we go to the mall and see
right.
what's up.
And the mall's pretty fun. Uh all right, so there's
Yeah,
Tobias. He's like looking at a tux store. It's like buy your tux today, whatever. Fashion, whatever. They're like selling, it's like, oh, there's a school dance, so we better put out the dance shit.
he's a
Um,
boy, by the way.
yeah, he's not a hawk. And he's like looking around and he sees like a hawk spray painted on a pillar. He has like a dramatic zoom where he's like, "What's that?" There's like a flash to him being a hawk, which I don't quite understand. Like, are we supposed to believe that he forgot he was a hawk and now he sees this? And I don't quite know what to make of any of that. But eh,
Uh-huh.
that happens. Uh, and
Uh-huh.
he pulls out the disc that he's keeping around his neck. We get another flashback about the disc.
Which I think is a new scene. I don't think we've actually seen this scene unless I forgot it.
Yeah, it's like they say like, "Oh, it's got to do something or whatever," which I mean, it already is doing stuff. So like that would imply that it's from the beginning of the show, but then Rachel's like, uh no, Tobias, you should take it cuz it looks good on you, which isn't what happened. So presumably this happened like presumably after Tobias got the disc back and it reacted to his DNA, and he got a bunch of powers from it. The Animorphs all sat around and were like, "Now what are we gonna do? What does the disc do? I wonder what it does. What should we do? Here, Tobias, you hold on to it for safekeeping, cause like why not?" And it just none of it. I don't know what to make of this scene. It feels almost like they forgot that there was a disc in season one. They forgot that there was a disc at the beginning of this season, and they're like, "We want to reintroduce you to the idea of the disc, but we don't really care about anything that happened with the disc." Tobias has it now.
It
I
is
don't.
wild that here we are in the finale of the show, and they never did stop talking about the disc. From the beginning to the
Yeah.
end, it is the central plot of this show.
They don't even like talk about it in a different way though. You'd think that like all this shit, like it gave Rachel Yerk DNA, it reacted to Tobias, it gave him his morph powers back. He talked to Elfangor on it. You'd think that fundamentally they would talk about and treat the disc differently now than they did
Mhm.
before that, but they just kind of don't. It's just like, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
disc. I don't know what it does. Tobias better hang on to it for safekeeping. Who knows? It's a disc. Maybe someday we'll unlock its secret. Haven't you already
It has
started?
even more secrets. There's still more secrets.
I
Who
don't.
knows how to unlock them? I hope. Oh, maybe they'll find out later on.
Maybe they will. I have an idea of who could maybe help them with this disc. What about Erek the Chi? You think
That
maybe they
might
could,
make sense.
because he's got lots of tech?
Mhm.
Maybe now that they know that it's Tobias's DNA that unlocks it, maybe now Axe can step in because he wasn't able to unlock it before. But now that they know, maybe he could help with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Right.
would be another
Well,
option. Maybe they could do
Axe is
that.
busy. Like, he got a job at Radio Shack. He's doing
Right.
stuff. They
That's
don't have
true.
time to ask him.
Yeah, Eric's a gumball machine. So, what do you want from him?
That guy is a fucking gumball machine.
Stupid machine won't work.
I did. I don't know. I thought Tobias, it seems like he's getting PTSD from just seeing a hawk. Except that presumably he was a hawk an hour before this scene, so it doesn't really track. But he seems
Yeah.
to be like traumatized by it, like he's having a stressful flashback in his head of being a hawk,
Yeah,
which
like
he always is.
it's just like hawk graffiti and it's like dramatic zoom flashback to, again, like you said, what presumably was an hour before this. Is it like does he see anytime he sees a fuck, does he go and see like an advertisement with a hawk soaring on it and he's like, this must be a special message
Yeah,
just for me because
yeah,
I'm a hawk.
yeah.
Like what?
No, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to assume that this is anything significant. Yeah, it makes no sense. No, but we need to talk about this hawk graffiti. First of all, I didn't even like register that it was graffiti.
Mhm.
I'm like, that's just like an insignia on a pillar? Like that's just like a decoration? I don't really,
Yeah.
I don't know where this thing came from or what I'm supposed to read into it. But isn't that specific design of that silhouette of a hawk, wasn't that used like on a book cover or in Animorphs promotional material or something? It looks very familiar to me.
Really?
This is not something. Am I crazy? I
Interesting.
guess if it's not, I thought wasn't there
No,
like some
maybe.
Animorphs like ARG game or something where they like you. I thought I remembered this distinct hawk looking logo.
That's possible, right? Like, I wouldn't necessarily recognize it if it's, from it's not like the books are illustrated or anything like that, really. I mean, it's not a David Mattingly, but that doesn't mean it couldn't be some kind of,
I
like you
could be
said,
totally
ARG or
wrong.
like commemorative coin even or some bullshit. That could be.
I mean, I'm looking at the like there's an Animorphs TV show thing where they do just show him turning into a hawk in silhouette. It
Mhm.
doesn't quite look like that though. It's a little bit different. So maybe this is just some weird brain malfunction I'm having, and I'm just completely making this up. If you don't know about it, then it's probably not a thing because I thought maybe you would come in with some expertise.
No. I mean, listen, it could have been. It could have been, you know.
Looks familiar to me. I don't know why, but I mean, it's just a bird, I
Mm.
guess. Just looks like a bird.
Maybe it's reminding you of how you are a bird.
Oh
It's reminding
shit!
you of your
Ah!
Andalite parentage.
Oh! Quack! Quack!
Oh no! Oh no! Jonathan's a
Quack!
bird now.
Quack!
Do you think
Quack!
your mic can record thought speech?
Hold on, I'm speeching in thought.
Oh, I'm hearing you. I hear it.
Okay, that's enough.
Yeah, that's enough of that.
Also, all of Tobias's memories, it should be pointed out, are in yellow.
Yeah, I think
Whether
that's
he's when
bird
he's a hawk
vision.
and no, it's also when he's a human though.
Oh
When they're
yeah.
talking about the disc, it's still yellow.
Right.
He just remembers things in yellow.
Yeah, that's
just,
true.
That's just how he
Uh,
remembers stuff.
That's what it. When you have a memory, it's in yellow.
You know, maybe they were in Mexico in that scene. That might be what it is.
That could be. Yeah. No, I think you've cracked the code. This is like right near the border. We figured out where it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, next scene.
The Mark and Marco,
Mark?
Mark and Jaco are
Called
in.
Mark for short.
They're in Siberia and they're debating the Andalite thing. And Axe shows up and tells them it's a toilet. Well, what he actually says is it's an intracellular rehydration and cleansing system coil, which in the context of a toilet kind of sounds like it's an enema device.
You could have just said it's a bidet. An
Well,
enema device.
it could be a bidet, but a bidet is not a. You know what I mean? A bidet is not a toilet, right? It's
Well, yeah, right.
It cleans you, but an enema could you could be getting enemas like instead of using the
Ugh.
bathroom,
Okay.
right? That could
All
just
right.
function.
I don't.
see what I'm
I
saying?
don't know. This thing is very small, by the way. I don't really remember. It's been a long time since we read that dumb book. But wasn't it like a thing you walked inside of? Wasn't it like a big cube or
Like a
something?
porta potty, maybe. I don't actually remember. It is possible that you're remembering it as a cube because everything is a fucking cube that you walk inside, but I legitimately don't really remember what this thing was like.
Well, either
You
way,
might be
whether or
right.
not it's true to the book, it does seem weird. Like, how is this little thing a toilet? It's like the size of
Yeah.
a. It's like you can hold it in your hands. I don't understand.
Z space, it's like wizards using vanishing spells on their shit. It teleports your shit into Z space.
Probably not the first time we made that joke.
I'm sure it's not. It can't be.
So I did not figure this out. I thought, oh, maybe it's the time matrix. That seemed plausible to me.
Hmm.
So they did. Yeah, it is weird that they just did the Andalite toilet. Only they put the punchline up front instead of like telling you a Shaggy Dog story, which just is kind of like was the whole point.
Yeah.
So then why even take it at all?
Yeah.
Why was this in a museum? Why was it not at a research base? All these
Yeah.
questions. I don't know.
Why are we
It's
still
dumb.
here 8 minutes in? The Yerks aren't even, they have nothing to do. This plot line is ended. We're like, this is,
That's
we
it.
want to talk about what Jake and Marco are doing for the rest of the episode. It's something totally different than this. That's just not, like, we're done.
That's all, folks. We're out. Here
Uh,
come Rachel and Cassie, our friends.
yeah, well, first, I want to look here. First of all, Axe's shirt is kind of dorky. But the real thing that I want to take first notice of here, though you'll see it clearer later, what the ever-loving fuck is Jake wearing?
Oh yeah, we will see that later. He's got like a beige burlap sack colored sort of sweatshirt, but it's a sleeveless sweatshirt, which I guess has a hood. You can't really see it, but it has like the drawstrings on the
Yeah.
front.
Yeah, it's like a
Um,
very thin hoodie that's also it's cut like a sweater vest. And he's wearing it over a white t-shirt. I cannot what
it's
is
cool.
this?
It's extreme. This is what this is what Max
Extreme?
in a Goofy movie would wear while he's skateboarding. Like it's cool.
I do not think no, it is not cool. This is the
I think it's
least cool
cool.
thing.
I think it's cool and hot too.
No, this thing is a disaster. I don't like it.
I think this is probably why he got cast in the X-Men, because they were like, that guy's so cool. He's like ice.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That's a behind the scenes that I read they said that. It was in the director's commentary.
All right. I do think that Jake's weird fucking bullshit that he's wearing. Oh no, I have one more. I was going to say I think it closes out my comments on clothes, but I have at least one or two more.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Don't worry, folks. There's more to come.
Okay. Yeah.
I do like. I actually kind of like Axe's delivery here on the toilet because there's a bit where Marco's like, "It's a toilet," and I touched it, and Axe is like, "Did you?" And Marco's like, "Yeah," and Axe goes, "Sorry." And it was good. It's good. He's got a little snicker. I was like, this is good. I like this. I like that Axe thinks it's funny that Marco touched
Yeah.
the toilet.
I feel like the bit of him being like embarrassed to tell them what it is seemingly was stretched out a little too much.
Yeah, that's
Mainly,
fair.
maybe because I at that point already figured out what they were doing, and I was like, okay, just say it.
Yeah.
But it was a little like it seemed like they were trying to make it really awkward when it didn't really have to be that awkward.
Yeah,
But whatever.
reasonable. All right, toilet plotline concluded. We're done with that one. I wonder what
Next.
we're doing next. All right, well, we're going to introduce the next plotline right now. Cassie and Rachel show up, and we find out that when they went to the makeup store, Cassie made a scene because it's the company that the makeup they test the makeup on animals. And so Cassie like climbed up on the counter and screamed that animals were people too. We didn't see this happen. Rachel just says it happened. Also, I don't know that this Cassie does that, but she
Yeah.
did. Um and so Cassie's like, I think we should go free the animals. Which you might remember from book 28, The Experiment, which I guess that's the plot we're on now, maybe, kind of.
Yeah, at this point I'm going, how many fucking books are we doing here?
Yeah, right? Look, we finished that one. We're on to the next book.
They're like, we only have 3 episodes left. Let's just speed run all the books we can.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Kinda
did the
is.
same thing I did. They listed off all the books that they could do that they haven't, and then they're going to do them.
And yes, up until this point in this show, I don't know if you hadn't read the books that you would especially characterize Cassie as being this sort of bleeding heart animal rights activist.
Yeah.
Like, other than, yeah, she has a barn. Like, we've never really seen her demonstrate a special, unique love of animals that anyone else hasn't. Have we? I don't
Not
think it's
really,
ever come
no.
up.
Maybe like 1 or 2 lines, but not
No,
like
you're thinking of
special or
Rachel.
unique.
You're thinking of Rachel.
I think she.
Oh, one
yeah,
or two
Bongo
lines.
and Caesar. You're right. I was gonna say I think that's only 1, but you're right. It is.
Well, it's still 1
2.
or 2.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing where I do wonder, like, what is that? Like, Ron Oliver all of a sudden read a book and was like, oh, I could use that. Oh, she has a character. I guess I could put that in my script. Or what? Like, why did that come in now at the last episodes of the show and never before? It's very weird.
Very strange. Also the part where we have the makeup discrepancy thing. Now, I mean, even in the books though, like I don't think that even book Cassie is like jumping up on the counter in a store and being like, animals have rights too. Like that's what Marco and Rachel are saying that she does to make fun of her. right?
Mm.
Where what she's really doing is being like, Rachel, you're not really gonna shop there, are you? You know they test on animals,
Yeah,
right?
she's
She's
more
not
like a liberal.
screaming in the middle of the fucking mall.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
It's
Well, hey,
weird.
for all we know, maybe Rachel's exaggerating. I mean, we didn't see it.
That's true. I mean, listen, Marco's like, did you really do that? And Cassie doesn't like deny it. So I don't know. Maybe Rachel's still exaggerating.
She flipped out.
She fucking freaked.
She lost her mind.
Yeah.
Then we get more dance talk.
Right, yeah, because Jake's like, maybe we shouldn't do it, and Cassie gets mad and walks off, and they're like, Jake, you should have just said okay, because don't you want to take Cassie to the dance? Um, and Marco is pretty great in this scene because he very clearly has no investment in the conversation and is just like constantly making unhelpful remarks. Rachel's like, Jake, why'd you say that to Cassie? And Marco's like, yeah, Jake, how could you? And Jake's like, Rachel, we have more important things to worry about, like saving the world. And Marco's like, yeah, Rachel, didn't you ever think of that? And Rachel's like, but what about taking Cassie to the dance? And Marco's like, yeah, Jake, you're such an inconsiderate guy. It's good. He just keeps coming in and they keep ignoring him. I like it.
That's funny. Clearly Jake is, she's like, he's like Cassie and me. No, I just thought, like you and me, Rachel. That feels like the
Right.
vibe.
Right. Yeah, it does feel like a vibe. Well, there'll be a little bit of that later. I mean,
Anyway,
okay, here's a question. Why does Rachel look like she's about to cry in this scene? Like
that's, I don't
she's
know. Ron Oliver
really
was verbally abusing her between takes.
she's like really upset about Jake blowing Cassie off here. I
She
don't
just
know, it's
witnessed the
weird.
owner of the Bowmanville Zoo beating an animal.
I like how none of your explanations are she's a good actress and she thought that that was the proper emotion to show in this situation for some
Yeah,
reason.
no. I think, I'm guessing it's Brooke Nevin in real life witnessed some kind of traumatic event, and
Yeah.
that's what's happening here.
Okay.
Speaking of
Reasonable.
which, I think cut to the Bowmanville Zoo right after this.
Oh, is it the Bowmanville Zoo? Oh, I mean, yeah,
Uh,
because
yeah,
we cut to like Cassie's barn, which we know the gardens is kind of that preserve at her house, so we
uh,
get to see all these animals she's got around her barn.
yeah. There's like a camels. That's definitely a shot of just the camel exhibit
Yeah.
at the Bowmanville Zoo.
Why does she have she has fucking camels? She's got some weird like strange fucking pronghorn bullshit. She's never had owls though at her barn. That hasn't come up yet.
Yeah, the idea that we're supposed to link these, and then they just cut to the exterior of the barn, and you're supposed to put it together in your head. That must all be in the same place. Nah, I'm not buying that. It does not look like it's in the same place.
Yeah. Cassie's in the barn. She's got a monkey.
I think it's the
And
same monkey, probably from the Erek episode where Rachel turns into a monkey.
it's got to be, right? How could it not be? They don't have
Must
two
be.
monkeys.
No,
Like,
nobody has
no,
two
I think there is
monkeys.
a shot where there's two monkeys in this episode. So
Oh
hard to
shit!
there might be. Maybe they used some film magic.
Not two Jakes though.
Right. No, one of them's Cassie. God, I can't get over Jake. Yeah, it has a hood for sure. I can't get over Jake's fucking
Yeah.
top.
I'm gonna steal that look.
You go for it. You know
I
what?
think it's
More
cool.
power to you.
Thanks.
If
I think
that's
it's
how it
really
is.
cool. Okay, so they make lovey-dovey eyes at each other in the barn. I mean, is there anything in this
Yeah.
scene?
No, Jake's like, I'll help you free the animals and we can go to the dance. And Cassie's like, oh, Jake, I love you so much. And yeah. All right. Cut to Shempko, changing the world one molecule at a time.
Shempko.
I mean, Shempko is. Listen, I know there's always the debate what's better, Shempko or Curlyco. I am a Shempko kind of guy.
Mm, yeah.
You know how it is.
Yeah. That, I mean, it has to be an intentional reference, although I don't know why.
Does it?
The Shempko is too weird a name. Shempko? Like, that's not just something you make up. It's got to be somebody who was a stooge head and they thought it was funny.
I guess that's the. I mean, listen. I don't know where else it comes from, but, like, I also don't know how it comes from Shemp. So, like, I just don't know what to make of it at all.
Shempko. It's too. It's just what I don't know what that is.
You would
What
have
are we
made it
supposed
like
to do?
Howard Fine and Howard if you were doing that.
Okay. I mean, I think it's Harold actually.
Oh, that's a good call forward there.
Thanks.
You're all gonna know
All
what that
right.
means in about an hour.
So, so, so we're inside the lab. We're basically doing a repeat of the museum heist, only now it's an animal lab.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
take two.
They're
Redux.
monkeys. You remember how they turned into monkeys and they were in an animal testing lab, only that time it was a York animal testing lab, and here it's just a makeup. They test makeup on these animals. In this lab, I can't help but notice they bring in some monkeys. I don't see any other monkeys here. There's chickens, there's a fox. I don't They're not going to get good test results here, right?
Yeah,
Like
what?
it's like, "Oh, the one monkey reacted this way and the one chicken reacted that way." So, what does that tell us?
Yeah,
It
this
doesn't tell
is
you shit like that.
this
What
is
the
very
fuck is
strange.
this?
I don't. Yeah, it's just they have
Since when are
5
foxes
random
used for
animals.
animal testing?
Yeah, I don't know what they're testing them on. They want to see if this makeup makes them more sly.
Mmm. You're right. You're right. They
They
were like
wanna-
only
they're-
the sexiest animals for our makeup testing. Foxes,
well,
chickens.
well, then there'd be a rabbit, obviously.
Obviously, there probably is one there.
I think they're doing a test to see
There is
how
a
many-
rabbit there. Later on,
Oh,
they
okay.
rescue a rabbit.
Oh, okay. So it is Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps. Remember in one scene they do say they're doing a test to see how many trips it takes to get a fox and some chickens across back and forth a lake without the fox eating the chickens.
Right. Yeah, I do think they say
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good joke.
Thanks. Put a lot of effort into it. I
All
don't know.
right.
They break out of these cages. How did
Yeah.
they know they'd be able to open? I guess they tested it, but like the monkeys can just reach around the cage and
Yeah.
unlock it as monkeys.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in real life you lock the monkey cages because monkeys can do that. And you know that. I don't know. Here's
Yeah.
the question I had. Cassie comes out of her cage and demorphs. Jake does not do it because I guess he knows that someone is coming. But Cassie stands there for like 30 seconds, like, Jake, you gotta leave the cage. Jake, you're gonna get stuck as a monkey if you don't leave the cage. He doesn't thought speak to her. He doesn't tell her someone's coming. Clearly, he had time to get out and demorph because she did, because they're not there. At this point, I was legitimately thinking, is that not Jake? Is she talking to a real monkey? Is that the joke? But that's not the joke. They just didn't write that very well.
Well, my explanation for this is what occurs in a few minutes, I think. I don't know if it's very well
Oh.
conveyed.
Okay, I see what you're saying, because he's in the monkey brain, because he loves
Yeah,
being yeah.
He gets too monkeyfied, and so he's not like listening to her.
I see.
But-
So anyway, these two scientists, they seem to be scientists, come in. These are, you were wondering, these are Lee and Glazer. Glazer is the woman and Lee is the guy.
Okay. Which one is the woman again?
Glazer.
All right, but which one is that? I just can't even tell.
The white one.
That doesn't help me. That actually makes it harder. They're both in white lab coats. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
All right. Anyway, yeah, they take the monkeys. I don't know. This sucks, right?
Yeah.
Can we just skip this? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I mean, my only they take the monkey, whatever. Cassie's following as a road. The only thing that I have here is Jake is spending this whole time being like, this is fun. I love this monkey business, and like, it's funny, but it just doesn't fit at all. Like the monkey is not doing anything. It's just sitting in the cage. And I guess I'm supposed to believe that monkeys just love being monkeys so much that even if you put them inside a tiny cramped cage, their only thought is, I sure do love being a monkey. And it also feels like the like, it feels like there's no coordination. I've said it before that their, like, voice direction is like shit, obviously, but, like, here it does just feel like they got Shawn Ashmore in the booth and they were like, "Pretend you're having fun being a monkey, and we'll just kind of, like, dub that in later somehow. Don't worry about it."
It feels like they're trying to do what they did with the dolphins in the books when it was
Mm,
all being a
yeah,
dolphin, you're so happy and all this stuff. But in the show, they've really never played with that other than a little bit in the very beginning. Usually they're an animal and they are still in complete control. And I also don't know, like you said, that a monkey, particularly in this instance, would be uncontrollable. And also, he's been an Animorph for a year or something, so he should
right.
be better at this by now.
Yeah. I mean, in the
It
books,
doesn't
they
make sense.
they tend to be like being a monkey is too much like being a human. It's weird, but even ignoring that, yeah, I mean, there is a part where Cassie's like, "Jake, you only have an hour left in Morph if you don't get it together." And it is kind of like, so Jake's been a monkey for an hour and he hasn't figured this out yet? What the fuck?
Right. Yeah, and like why would it be it would almost maybe if it was Marco or even Axe maybe and they're like a little bit weirder, but Jake's supposed to be the guy who's calm and collected and in charge and everything. It's odd.
It's just strange. They just needed to put him in a cage. Whatever. These scientists aren't real scientists. They're animal protesters. They're from the
They hate
animal.
animals.
They're from the animal rights freedom
Oh, they like
fighters. They
animals.
like them. Yeah, they fight for animals, not against
I
them.
see.
It's
I
like when
see.
yeah, yeah. So they fucking all right. So the the president and founder of January Rose Cosmetics, which is the company that Cassie's mad at, named
Mm,
Edina Rose, who I mentioned at the top. She is unveiling a new building for the January Rose Cosmetics.
Yeah, I
It
think
l-
it's their new office or factory or
I
something.
I guess it looks like an office building. I was just kind of looking at it like, I guess that looks like some kind of 20-story office building you're unveiling, but it's weird that there's like a press conference and you're cutting a ribbon. Like, isn't that like a new store? So at first I was like, oh, this is the new cosmetic store that is a like 20-story building in the middle of the city that just is kind of flat and beige, and I didn't know what to make of it. I guess it's the new office building.
It's certainly not a store.
It
Unless it's an
can't
entire
be,
mall.
right? It can't
Yeah.
possibly be a new store.
No, it's a fucking skyscraper. It's an office building. There's not a
Yeah,
it's
I
not a
don't know.
store.
Whatever. The animal protesters show up here and they're like, free all the animals. But, of course, Jake is still in the monkey cage and now he's in front of news cameras and there's a crowd. And so, like, he can't get out and demorph and they gotta, whatever. He's gonna get trapped.
By the way,
That's
I'm looking
what we're
up
doing.
some more IMDb stuff here for us. George Chang, who plays Lee,
Hmm.
either the male or female animal protester,
Uh-huh.
he's also in X-Men uncredited. He plays a UN reporter in X-Men Dark Phoenix. So technically, it's part of the same universe as Shawn Ashmore.
Okay. But not one of
And
the same movies.
no. And Boyd Banks, who was the ex-museum employee,
Right. Bob Candy.
um, uh, right, Bob Candy. He was also in he was also in Jason X, which you'll recall Dove Tiefenbach, who plays Erek, was also in Jason X. So
Wow.
there's just all kinds of little connections everywhere if you look for them.
That's pretty cool.
He's also in
What's a
Kids in the Hall.
funnier name? Bob Candy or Boyd Banks?
The problem is I think Bob Candy is too close to John Candy,
Hmm. Yeah.
so I think Boyd Banks is funnier.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
But Bob Candy kind of makes me smile.
Uh,
So
yeah.
January Rose and
Yeah.
Adina Rose.
Yeah,
Wait,
talk
what's
about this because
January
I'm
Rose?
fucking done talking about this scene. I don't have anything to say.
I don't know. I just thought Adina Rose is kind of a real diva. You know, I saw her up on that stage and I just kind of thought, whoa, slay. You know?
Okay.
she's got these cool purple sunglasses and this sort of
That's true.
lilac jacket.
Yeah.
And I just kind of thought, whoa, Mother is mothering when I saw her.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then I don't know, what did you say what happens yet?
About the protesters?
Yeah, like would you just describe the rest of this scene, which is the rest of the episode, basically?
I mean, basically, I don't know. They come up there and they're like animal rights now.
Right, 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 right.
Eventually, Cassie and Mark, or Rachel and Marco are going to show up there because they hear about it, but they
I
haven't
did
heard
really
about it yet.
wonder. So there's a security guard on the stage.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything when the two protesters just come up there, push Adina Rose out of the way and start talking into the mic. Like what's he hired for? He's just standing there watching. He doesn't do anything. How hard is it to they're not bodybuilders. They're little science nerds who love animals who made little signs in their arts and crafts room. Like, kick them out of the way. What is your job?
There is like a fucking security guard cop type guy who like
later something they do stuff.
Well, I was going to say the opposite. So she's trying to open the cage with Jake in it.
Yeah.
And they're like, don't you do that. Now, he didn't stop the protesters. He's here going,
right.
To Cassie. Rachel's going to eventually show up as a fucking bear. And after Rachel shows up as a bear and everyone's screaming, Cassie's like, now's my chance to open the cage. But he's still there. Like, not worried about that bear. I do think that this is true to life cop behavior. You imagine a cop, he's over here, is like, I'm going to harass this young black girl. Oh, wait, there's a dangerous situation that, like, innocent people might be hurt? Well, that sounds scary. I'm just going to stay over here and harass this innocent black girl, if that's okay with you. That feels true.
Yeah. But it's not, the beginning part's not dangerous and scary. It's just two losers on stage.
Right, yeah, I mean, like, cops love beating up loser protesters who suck.
Also, I don't know, like, the guy who's just on stage, is it a cop? Or I thought it was just private security guard.
I mean, same mentality, but it is different. You're right. It probably is
like,
just a security guard.
I would think he would be like, he's actually paid to specifically do that job, that he would be more likely to do it.
Yeah. Strange.
I don't know
what to make of him.
I don't know. We get Tobias again. He's a bird.
Yeah, he shows up at Rachel's house, and he's like, sorry, Rachel, I can't take you to the dance because I got a date with the cuck cage, and you should take another guy so that I can have my fun. That's, so that happens.
Yeah, it's very dramatic. Now, here's where I'll say something about this dance that will come up again later, too, but what kind of a fucking dance is this?
Because it's the spring into spring dance or whatever.
She tells Tobias, oh, we're going to get you a tux. And I'm like, a tux? This isn't even like prom. It's a spring dance. It's the fucking, like, middle of school year. Like, they're not even seniors, I don't think. They can't be because Tom is older. So they are at least sophomores or something. Like,
the spring formal.
Is this a thing? Am I just such a loser that I don't know about this? That there's this many school dances where you're like renting formal wear in spring?
There is like a spring formal thing, or there was like that. I never went to any of those. I've never been to a school dance that wasn't prom.
Well, I'm gonna say this now because later on this comes up too. Cassie. Is it the suit or it's something else? She gives Jake like something like, this is what my grandpa wore on his wedding day.
Yeah, she gives him that
to wear to this random school dance. I'm like,
yeah, why is this fucking prom?
Yeah, they're treating this like it's so momentous. I guess it can't be prom because they're like, oh, we don't want him to be graduating, or we don't even want it to be the school year ending yet, so it's just a dance.
Just make it fucking junior prom.
Yeah, it feels like they're putting so much pomp and circumstance into this like formal black tie school dance. I don't know. Maybe I am just not a school dance person, so this is all foreign to me, but it seemed strange.
Yeah, very strange. I agree. Very strange. We'll get there. Well, I can just say it now. I also don't think that Cassie's dress lives up to it. Like Cassie has got like just like a dress, like a like kind of nice, I don't know, cocktail party dress, and like she's there putting Jake in her grandpa's tux, and it's like this is weird. Like why are you like it's a fine dress for like a just random school dance, I guess, but it's not the same level of formality, and it's very strange to me.
Yeah. Why aren't you wearing your dead grandma's wedding dress?
Right?
Why don't you just
Because
fucking
Jake
get
didn't
married?
offer it. Jake didn't come back and be like, "Well,
Mm.
I actually brought you my
I
grandma's
brought
wedding
you
dress."
Grandma G's wedding dress. Right? It was Grandma G and Grandpa G, right?
Grandma G. Yeah, that's right.
As soon as Tobias
Christ.
flies out the window, Marco calls Rachel. So I like that he's like, he could sense it. She's available
Yeah.
now. It's my time to swoop in.
I mean, I do like it is funny for Tobias to just be like, "You should go get with another guy and not me," and then immediately Marco's here. Somebody call for Marco. Rachel's available, you say.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, they're seeing what's going on TV, so they're going to go show up. And why don't you just describe the rest of the episode?
Rachel shows up. She's a bear. Cassie's got to get her out of or Jake out of the cage. Adina's like running scared from the animals and shit. Marco turns into a dog. He knocks Adina Rose out of the way of a speeding van and saves her life. So now she loves animals and won't test on them anymore. And and Cassie lets Jake out of the cage and makes a Curious George joke. And so, hooray! It's the day is saved, and now we can go back to Siberia. Um, before we get before we get to the twist ending,
Mm.
which is I guess a twist beginning for next
I
episode.
don't know if it's a twist, but sure.
Yeah, the cliffhanger. Some comments on Siberia. New cups here. Cassie's cup has a price tag on the bottom of it. You can see it, the sticker. I think that's the only comment I have on that.
You skipped right to Siberia, huh?
I mean, what? Do you have things to say? I thought you said just describe the rest of the episode.
Well, yeah, I guess I did. I mean, I didn't really remember they went to Siberia, to be honest with you. I do think, I mean, the fact we got to comment on the fact that Rachel does morph into a bear. That's the first time that has happened.
I did like the bear.
Yeah, the bear is good. I was like, whoa, she's a bear. I got up and cheered and pointed like Leo DiCaprio.
Sure.
I was excited about that.
I guess I could have used that as an opportunity to make some bear jokes. But,
no, yeah, too bad, too late. We moved past that.
Yeah, can't bear
but
my
okay.
soul on.
Okay. I'll save the rest of what I had for.
Kind of just said the bare minimum.
Why don't you just explain the ending and then I can talk about that too?
Nope.
Next.
All right. Mark goes off in the woods and he demorphs. We get another like nice demorph with Marco. I like these new demorphs.
Yeah, they're looking not bad.
And that's when we hear a little leitmotif played on a fucking child's Casio synth that we're going to be hearing
Leitmotif?
over the course of.
Is it light or lead? Leitmotif? I don't know how to say it.
That's how you say it, right? Isn't it?
I don't know.
Whatever. It's a shitty one. It sucks. Because the reason they're playing this is because there's some fucking loser nerd who caught him on video demorphing, and that's his loser nerd theme. But Mark has been caught on video. They caught him. He demorphed. He's on film.
You're right, it's leitmotif.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Right. So this is important. God, his dog morph is really funny. Okay, here's what's look, this is going to be the next plot of the next episode, basically.
Yeah.
But I found it so strange because early on when they're talking about, oh, Cassie's saying we need to go rescue these poor lab animals, Jake is all, it's too risky. Like, we can't always be using our morphs and stuff and be like potentially seen in public. And then what happens? They go to an event that is like being with tons of press. I don't know if there's film cameras or not, but it's clearly a very public event.
Marco and Rachel saw it on TV. There's film cameras.
Right, exactly.
Live.
So it's definitely being televised. And they're all morphing into animals and all this shit. There's like a bear attack in the middle of the thing. And at no point during that, and at no point as a result of that, will the Yerks get involved.
Yeah, this was a totally Yerk-free. You know what? The first 8 minutes of this episode are the Andalite toilet thing, which the Yerks don't care about, even though it's just prominently displayed in a museum. The rest of it is them being broadcast live on TV, bear attacks, crazy shit, which, Marco and Rachel see it and show up. And yeah, again, the Yerks don't care. We introduced fucking a new Visser 3. We did 2 different books worth of plot lines. No, the Yerks don't, they're not in this episode, basically. They don't fucking matter. Who cares?
It's bizarre, especially because you set up the Visser 3 thing, so, like,
Yeah.
Why didn't he come back? But then to do all that, have it not result in what I thought it was going to result in, only to have Marco get randomly caught on film in the middle of the woods. I don't even know, like, why did he go here? Why did he choose to come here?
It is
in the
very
middle of the
weird. They're
woods?
like, where's Marco? And you think, oh, did something happen to him? No, he's just out in the woods.
Why is this kid filming in the middle of the woods? He was a dog before. Couldn't he smell that there was a guy standing there? It's so it almost feels like an intentional fake out, like a joke, like a misdirect that you think, oh, the Yerks are going to come. No, it's just this dumb kid, except that it's not a joke. It's just what happens.
And it's such a this kid comes after any plot, right? It doesn't matter that any plot in which they morph, which to be fair is half of them. You could just have this kid catch it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't lead out of this in any way. This could have been the opener to next episode, right? Like, it doesn't tie to this episode. The only reason that it ties to this episode is because they put the scene here.
Yeah. 100%. It's the thing we've talked about of, it's not a because this then that. It's just a and then that happens.
Yeah.
It's completely, who cares?
Yeah. So I mean, already first time I'm watching this at this point after episode 1, I'm just immediately like, so this didn't have to be a 3-parter. I don't even have to see the other 2 parts to know this didn't have to be a 3-parter.
But hey, we're only 90 minutes in, so we got plenty of time.
Right. Yeah. It's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it.
Now, after tearing this episode a new asshole, I kind of liked it, to be honest.
Yeah, it was fine. It was there were some good parts about it.
We got to see Rachel being a bear. We got to see some funny morphs. It was like, and also I'm kind of giving it the benefit of the doubt because it's part 1, and I'm like, let's see where things go. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see how that pays off.
Honestly, I'm okay with the paper thin plots. What am I expecting? It's fun to have them run around. The character interactions are not bad. There's good banter. They're actually using them. We're not seeing people just dropping off the face of the earth, except kind of Tobias, but whatever.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I did like it reasonably enough.
Now, part 2.
Part 2. Oh man, it's exciting. So, we open. Well, hold on. Let me pull it up. I want to make sure I have it ready to look at.
You got to have it ready.
Yeah, you gotta have it ready, but we're gonna pull up on this
Let's
nerd.
morph into a new segment in part 2.
That's what all of our ads told us to say,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah, when we got all
It's a little
that ad
throwback.
copy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Kind of
God.
warm in here.
All right, so we're in Harold's. That's the name of this nerd.
Mhm.
Uh, in his room, and he's editing the Marco vid, and
Harold played by J.J. Stalker.
yes, and he wants to send it into World's Weirdest Videos, and win the $10,000 prize for the weirdest video. Um, do you have any comments on the font that World's Weirdest Video uses for its title card?
That's a really good question. It's the sort of thing I might have comments on.
Because I feel like you should,
Well,
if I
I
can
mean,
figure out the exact frame it's on, but
clearly this is a, what's it called? World's Funniest Videos sort of a
right,
takeoff, right? I mean, there's probably was a World's Weirdest Videos or something similar.
yeah.
The idea of it now in the era of YouTube is just patently ridiculous. And also in the era of easily editable media, like none of these you would just know every video was fake. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, even they probably still would be fake, but at least you would have to put some effort into it or something. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The font is very just it's sans serif. You know?
Like, it's very fucking it's just generic. It's just like that's
Yeah.
you're making a title card for your television
Right.
program. You're not I don't know, it feels like what you get on your middle school project. It's just the
Yeah.
first thing that you picked.
You'd expect it to be because it's World's Weirdest Videos that would be a Goosebumps font or something. That would be something
Yeah.
like creepy and slimy or something. But no, it looks like you're at the museum watching the historical VHS or something. It's
Yeah.
just whatever.
Can't help but notice one of these weird videos is like an alligator sliding down a slide, and one of them is an ostrich just kind of standing there looking at you. So that's kind of weird, right? An ostrich.
Yeah, and they all is that an alligator or like a platypus? I can't really tell. It's kind of blurry.
Uh,
Oh no, it's an alligator, I think. You're
I was
right.
gonna say,
But
but
uh, but also all the videos are like sepia tone for some reason. Uh, Like presumably they're from different sources. Why do they give them all a filter to look gray, brown, ugly?
yeah, it is weird. It's like this is all old television from way back when, but it must be currently airing.
Yeah. But you know what I thought when I saw this kid Harold, who of course
Uh-huh.
is wants to submit his video of Marco morphing to World's Weirdest Videos.
Uh-huh.
I thought, whoa, this kid's like Dib from Invader Zim.
Mm.
That's our new plot is we've got a Dib trying to expose the aliens.
So that'll help us segue into our next podcast, the Zimcast.
The Simcast is going to be huge.
Yeah, that
I,
is that
I
is our next plot. I feel like this is like a relatively you know what? I think I said this at some point. I made some comment about how like this is a plot that you see sometimes, or at least like it's like, oh, some guy caught him on camera, and now you've got to destroy the foot or whatever.
mhm.
Because they did do this plot in Animorphs in book 42, The Journey, where somebody got a picture of Marco, but that's well after this
Oh,
episode.
right.
Your
The other
favorite book.
Yeah, well, the book that I was like in a fever dream while we were
Yeah,
talking about it.
yeah.
Um, the other thing that I, of course, immediately thought was, oh, maybe this kid is David, and he kind of is.
You want so badly. I mean, he's the closest you're gonna get in this show.
Yeah, I think he is this show's version of David. Like, he's about as close as you get.
Sure, why not?
I mean, it's just the David, except they never let him be an Animorph, and
Yeah,
instead of
and the
finding the
Yerks
cube, he has a VHS
never
tape.
hear about it or find out about him or try to track him down in any way.
Well, why would they? Because he's not an Animorph. Who gives a shit?
Right. Well, in the books, he put up a ad for the cube online, and that's why they had to make him an Animorph, because the
Well,
Yerks were
I
after
mean,
him.
he does send his artifact to Visser 3.
Well, he sends it to a TV station, and then nobody notices or
Ah!
cares.
Well, I mean, you're right.
And he just never gets pursued by it. It doesn't matter.
But it could lead to that.
It could
in a
have led to
sense.
that. You could have done that if you had wanted to. It would have been kind of fun. I do like the idea of a David who's just like a very stereotypical loser nerd guy and not like, what's this guy's fucking
Mhm.
deal? He's
Yeah,
an
I think we can
edgelord.
also say Jewish, right?
You can say it if you want.
He seems like a nebbishy little
Mhm.
summer camp Jew.
hmm He's
It's
got
like,
a look to him, you're saying here?
Rachel,
you're
do you
saying?
want to? Would you like to come to temple with me on Friday?
I have to be associated with this. Like I know you can do this without fear of cancellation, but I have to be associated with this too,
Yeah.
you know?
And I feel like you emphasize you're like making sure the listeners know that I can say it.
I just
because I wouldn't
Because otherwise
necessarily.
otherwise they're just gonna assume. They're gonna be like, what is that guy doing hanging out with a like, you know what I mean?
With
Like, I'll be
you.
guilty by association. I'm already
Oh,
guilty
with
by
me.
association, but
Yeah.
it's not as
Right.
bad.
Right. Anyway, this next scene is fucking great.
Yeah, all right, so we're at school. Harold, so you know how he was calling in to World's Weirdest Videos?
Yeah.
Well, now he's writing them a letter too.
Well, they didn't pick up, so he's trying every avenue he can, I think.
Not sure what he's
Or
writing this letter on, but
maybe
he's
there's a
writing it.
formal submission process and the person on the phone said, "Oh, we only accept
Mm.
written submissions along with your submission." You know.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And there's some kind of like
Light?
goofy. Hmm.
You said so I said
Oh,
light?
so there's some like kind of goofy music, which kind of blurs the line over into like porn music playing here. When he looks up and sees Rachel coming down the hallway, and they overlay this big like hallelujah angelic choir thing over the weird 70s porn beat. And they like as they like go in on Rachel because she's the most beautiful girl in the world and Harold loves her, and it's like this angelic lights and all the other people in the hallway are gone as she walks in slow motion. They do some like freeze frames of her like striking poses or whatever. It's pretty great. I'm kind
It's
of loving it.
I mean, I was laughing. I was going, "What the fuck?" The show has never really done anything quite like this before.
Yeah.
It is pretty funny. It also, I think, is the first time maybe the show has really acknowledged the idea that Rachel is pretty. Like,
I think you're right.
we've kind of gotten like, oh, she likes clothes, and that's kind of it. This is the first time we've seen someone like idolize her and worship her, which is very funny and I mean, I love that, to have the character who does that. Uh, any chance for the Animorphs to interact with another kid
Yeah.
is an opportunity I want them to take.
You know, I need a gif of Rachel walking in slow motion with the like bright lights, and then it goes to the like slow zoom in on Harold's face, and it just alternates those two. That's what I need.
Well, I'll see what I can do for you.
Okay,
Now,
thank you.
what's the most important part of the scene is when he is interrupted from his reverie. At around 3.5 minutes in, he's jostled by a
Mhm.
couple of figures whose faces you don't see.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you see where I'm going with this?
I do. There sure
Well,
are two figures here.
they're both wearing basketball jerseys. One is holding a basketball. They
Uh-huh.
both seem to be quite tall as while they walk by, perhaps one skinnier than
Uh,
the other.
perhaps.
Surely this is Juan and Terry. There's no
It
doubt in
must
my
be.
mind.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind. That's
This
Juan
is
and
Juan
Terry.
and Terry. Yeah, they wouldn't have forgotten Juan and Terry for the show.
No, that's them. There they
They're
go,
gonna put
wearing
Erek in.
their famous either Vikings or Wildcats or whatever they were jerseys.
Melissa got 3 episodes. They definitely are putting Juan and Terry in at that point.
Oh, yeah. Well, they've kind of been in the background the whole time, I
Mhm.
think.
I think you're right. Yeah. Im-
So, yeah.
All right.
Howard? Harold? Howard?
Harold, there's a
Harold.
running joke where everybody calls him Howard, even though his name's Harold, and he has to keep correcting them because I don't know. He's that kind of respected loner type. Where,
Yeah, or Rachel corrects them usually.
right. Well, first Rachel gets it wrong, and he corrects her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he delivers her a rose in her locker.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, Tobias, how sweet!" And then he comes up behind her and is like, "Smells nice, don't it?" It's a really good opener, I think.
It's a lot like the comic of the woman in the office cubicle and the Chad guy coming in saying the exact same thing as the creepy guy, but she doesn't like it from the creepy guy.
If
You know.
if we were still using our social media accounts, I think that would be a good little
Yeah.
Photoshop.
Yeah. Oh well, listeners will just have to imagine it for
Yeah.
themselves.
Can you just picture it? Just take a moment.
Just take a
Um,
minute.
so there is a bit here. He asks her out for like burgers, and she's like, "I'm a vegetarian." Now we do get it confirmed by Jake that she is actually a vegetarian, but and in the book she's trying to be a vegger at this point. I think I don't remember. At some point she is, but when she says it here the first time, I am just like, she's not. There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah,
She just said that shit.
I did find that confusing. I definitely also thought that she was lying to get out of going to a burger place,
Yeah.
but then apparently she just is a vegetarian. Kind of weird.
Yeah. Kind of weird. He's not much of a stalker if he doesn't even know that.
Harold, though, hearing that she's a vegetarian, says that's groovy.
I see,
He
because it's
says
like a hippie.
groovy out loud. Is
'Cause
that why?
I, I don't know.
Or is it just that Ron Oliver hasn't updated his slang in 20 years?
The kid's weird. What can I say? He offers to take her out for a burger again later on, so I don't know that. I don't fucking know.
Hmm.
Yeah, but he's all like, "Well, what if I showed you? Would you like me if I showed you a tape of a guy turning into a dog?" And Rachel's like, "Oh, actually, maybe you should show me that tape." Uh, and then cut to the barn where she tells the Animorphs he has it. Which, I am thinking at this point, couldn't she just be like, "Oh, Howard, Harold, whatever. If you give me that tape, I'll go out on a date with you and then take it and then destroy it and then never talk to him again." Like, couldn't she just do that?
Sure.
Like, he would definitely respond to that.
Yeah. Yeah. She could do a lot of things. She could say, "I'll deliver it for you," or
Yeah,
just take it. Just grab it and run.
yeah. But instead, she goes back to the Animorphs and she's like, "He showed me a tape of Marco and I saw it. So he has that. We better do something about it." I don't
You
know.
know, she's not the most proactive Animorph on this show.
Yeah. I think Rachel in the books might have stabbed him.
She would have like spit on him and punched him in the face and broken his neck.
She probably would have stabbed him before he even offered the tape. He would have been like, "No, please don't kill me. I have a tape of a guy turning into a dog." And then she could have been like, "Gimme. Get out of here, worm."
By the way, I can tell you from experience that that does not work. If you approach a
Mm,
girl and say, "Hey, I've got a video of a guy turning into a dog. Want to get burgers with me?" They won't like it.
mm. Yeah, that's sad to know. It
Yeah,
seemed
yeah,
like
yeah.
such a surefire tactic.
Oh yeah, oh
We'll have
yeah.
to
I
update our pickup artist course here.
Yeah.
Take that one off the
Well, it's
curriculum.
PUA, pick up Animorphs. Mhm.
Right. Yes, correct.
Okay, so
Oh,
cut back to the barn. When she's telling them, Jake, we're still on. It's important that this is a three-parter so that you understand the continuity of the duck joke.
right.
Because Jake says, "See, this is why you have to be a duck, Marco, because nobody wants to videotape a duck." Which I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't really know.
Doesn't it kind of makes sense, right? Because you think about it. Okay, Jake plus dog is about as interesting as duck plus Marco. But Marco plus dog is just too much, Right. Jake can turn into a dog because nobody wants to videotape that. You see what I'm saying?
I don't really see what you're saying, no.
Well, the math checks out, I think.
Okay.
Listeners at home can work it out.
Yeah, math was never my strongest suit. I'm a bit like Christopher Ralph in that respect.
Yeah. You do remind me of him a lot.
Well, yeah. Where is he, by the way? He's not in this scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He's not going to be around for a while.
Yeah. Anything you need to say about like Cassie's bright red shirt she's got on or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I sure could, but it's fine.
Marco,
Whatever. I
they're
don't
definitely
care.
going for a floral thing with Marco. Somebody
this is-
definitely decided this season that he's like funny Hawaiian shirt guy.
This is not the first time he's worn this particular print. Yeah.
It's cool. They're all in jeans, of course, because that's what you wore. Pretty cool.
What's
Denim.
going on with Axe's? Is that a sleeve or is that another short sleeve shirt under his polo shirt? Or is there like a
I think
weird
that's another
cuff?
shirt. I think
Odd.
it's another shirt, but it looks weird.
I mean, I guess he's Axe. They can make him look weird, but I don't.
Okay, this sucks for audio listeners, which is everyone.
Yeah,
So-
no. Listen, this is bad. I don't care. Fucking listen. They got to get the
Fuck
thing.
you.
They go to his house, right? That the Marco and Jake are mice. They're breaking into Harold's room. There's a cat. He's asleep with the tape in his hands, and Marco does like some kind of Star Trek, Mister fucking Scotty. Fucking, you got to give me the dilithium crystals, Captain, to get him to hand it over. Sure. It's kind of like the scene in David's room where they break in to get the blue box and Marco turns into a cobra and then his dad comes home and shoots at them and then Visser 3 shows up and there's a fight between like a bear and a tiger and a giant hydraulic press alien and a bunch of work bajir in his bedroom.
It's a lot like that in many ways.
It's similar.
It's also kind of like the scene in Back to the Future when he says, "I am Darth Vader from Pluto" or whatever.
Well, I guess, I mean, that's, yeah, sure. I'm just, in this case, I think, Harold is probably actually dreaming about Star Trek.
Well, yeah,
know?
I mean, he literally says
Yeah.
Star Trek. Yeah. I mean, they make those actual references. Well,
Yeah.
first, when they get in there, Marco says, "Who's this guy's decorator? Obi-Wan Kenobi?" Which doesn't make sense.
Wait, when does he even say that? I don't even
He
remember
says that.
shit.
Yeah, right
Damn.
when they get in there, when they're mice, he says like, "Oh, who's this decorator? Obi-Wan Kenobi?" I wrote it down.
Huh.
But it's
Because there's
because there's
sci-fi
sci-fi.
stuff?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Obi-Wan
not-
likes sci-fi.
It's not a cave,
Huh.
Yeah,
I don't-
It doesn't. It's a terrible line. I was also trying to figure out because you see some of the VHS tapes he has, and one of them you can just see part of it, and the title ends in LLAR. So I was trying to figure out words like stellar.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of many words that end in LLAR or what that tape could be.
Well, I immediately went to Stellar too, so, Interstellar.
But what is that? Yeah, that's it. It must have been an early copy of Interstellar.
A test screen tape, whatever.
He did get the Time Matrix,
He did.
and he transcoded it
God.
to VHS probably because that's the best format.
Right. What are we doing? I'm getting tired.
I said how Harold is kind of like David crossed with Crazy Heather.
How is he like
Because
crazy?
remember
Helen?
she had her a Helen. Fuck.
Oh yeah, I guess because he had a lot of sci-fi decorations at her
Yeah.
alien ranch.
Yeah, she loved
sure.
all that sci-fi stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I also think Marco's Scottish accent is not good.
No, it's not.
And not even in a funny way. I think it's just like really bad and not enjoyable to listen to. And I should know because I'm really good at accents.
Can you give me an example of a Scottish accent? What would
sure,
Graham
sorry.
Lynch say?
He'd be like, I like to direct the show.
I think some wires might have gotten crossed there.
Oh, I give a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's like a Scottish.
I think we've been
And then-
going too long and the brain might be deteriorating.
It is. I told you it is kind of warm in here. It is a little warm in here.
Yeah.
And we might have to take a break. And then
Oh, God.
and then I think Marco wants to leave because I feel like he says, "Let's get out of here" before he thinks I'm an alien girl and tries to fuck me.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a weird line because he basically says exactly that.
That's what he says.
It's weird. Like, does he think Harold's gonna like start humping him in his sleep? Like, what the fuck is? It's so weird. Who wrote that?
I can see Marco saying something kind of like that. It's not too out of character.
I mean, maybe
gotta get
Marco's
outta
into
here.
him. Maybe Marco's kind of thinking
Yeah.
about it. You know,
Yeah, he's projecting. He's the one who brought it up.
that's
He's
true.
like,
That's true.
"Oh no, don't throw me in that briar patch," you know?
Maybe Marco likes weird, nebbishy little Jewish guys. John, you ever consider that possibility?
Now
Has it
I
been
don't know
something you've
what
thought about?
I'm
Before?
not sure what you're trying to say right now.
I'm just wondering if you've thought about that possibility.
Not necessarily.
Okay. Just a
probably
thought
likes-
I had.
He
Just
probably likes
wondering.
cool, funny, smart,
Mm,
attractive guys,
right.
you know?
Damn.
Okay.
I'm fucked.
So they get back home and watch the tape, and it's the wrong tape.
Yeah, it's his movie he's making about aliens. He's being silly in a robot costume. But
Now,
they
was
find
this-
out that yeah,
No. Sorry. Go ahead.
you can talk about this tape if you want.
I was just gonna say, was this pre or post Star Wars Kid? Do you think? Because that sort of had those kinds of vibes of like embarrassing viral video from early internet.
Interesting. I thought it was pre-Star Wars Kid, but I'm not sure. I mean, it does have the right vibes for like I made a home movie with my friends when I was 12.
Yeah,
So
except that it's just him playing all the parts because he has no
Yeah,
friends.
because he has no friends. I mean, that is kind of funny. Like, there's him in a robot costume, and then it like cuts to him in a wig. Like, oh no, the aliens are here.
Yeah, I would
That's
watch
funny.
this movie. It seems like fun.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We find out that he is at the mall because I guess Rachel calls his mom or some shit, and we get what might be the most insane cut in the Animorphs TV show. Uh, did
Uh-huh.
did you have this reaction?
Not really. I see what you're talking about, but I didn't like make a note of it or anything.
There's a fucking sound effect. They're like, I think he's at the mall, and then there's like this like slam cut to the middle of the mall with this ridiculous dramatic zoom in, and there's this like whoosh sound effect that goes under it, and like when I first saw it, I was like jumped back. I was like, what the fuck? That's like some crazy shit just happened. I guess the crazy shit is that they went to the mall. Like just the discrepancy between what happened and the way they decided to cut it is bonkers to me.
It's the 90s, baby. Shit's crazy.
It's
You gotta
weird
keep
'cause
those
it's not-
kids occupied. Hey, kids, pay attention. Look at the screen. Look now. Come on.
It's not even like the insane cuts they usually do, because at least with those you can kind of tell they want you to think it's insane. Here I'm just like, what? They went to the mall. Did they teleport? Did the Elemist put them there? Doesn't make sense. I don't get it. It's a
Well,
weird decision.
now it's a big deal. They got to find this kid. It's exciting. One thing I'm going to say, season 2 in general, that is in the plus column for me is they spend a lot more time at the mall.
That is
They
a
do
plus.
it a lot in these episodes. They were there the whole episode for the front, and a lot in. There's another one they're at the mall a lot in. I guess the only other one, the Erek one.
And it's not all Siberia. Like before, if they
Yeah.
went to the mall, it was just Siberia, and you had to know that was in the mall. Here, we have some Siberia, but a lot of mall.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It does seem like, because that would seem to me like a budget thing. Like they're actually shooting on location. It does make the show feel a little more interesting and real to actually see a place with people in it.
Now, I looked over Seropedia, and it said, I think, that they revealed the name of the mall in one of these episodes, but I did not catch that. I don't know when they do it.
Hmm. Probably in the one where they drop Axe off from the taxi, maybe? Don't you like see the outside of it?
No, but I think they say they reveal it, like, here.
Oh, here? I missed it.
Did they say that? I don't see where it, uh,
Did you even read that? Did you
maybe I
are you
made
even
that
on
up.
Seropedia?
I swear I read that on Seropedia, but you know what? I don't see it now, so maybe I made it up.
Cool. This is a good part of the show.
Well, you can cut this part then, for time.
Okay. Yeah, I'll cut this for time.
Yeah, do it.
So they're at the mall, and I like one of the things that they say. They all split up to go find Harold.
Oh, no, here it is. It says the mall's name is revealed as Woodbine Center.
Oh, I do see. There's on the floor on the decal they're standing on. I see the word. Yeah, when they zoom out, it says Woodbine
Oh.
Center.
Oh, so it's like
Yeah.
literally right here. I was just like, it must be when they're at the mall, but okay.
Well, yeah, it's here they are at the mall, and there it is, Woodbine Center.
There you go.
I mean, that's not revealed. Like that's just the mall they shot at. Why are
It's
they acting like?
revealed.
Who the fuck wrote that note? Seropedia, shut the
security
fuck
breach.
up. Shut up.
They accidentally, now all the Yerks watching will know their secret identities. They'll know where it happened.
Yeah, they use AI tech to change their faces. That's why they don't know. One of the places they say Harold might be is the all-day Star Wars marathon.
I kind of want
Which
to go to that.
At this point, just to remind people, that meant 4 movies.
They got
And that was
TPM going
it.
on, though.
That was it. 4 movies.
Cool
Done.
is cool.
What a simple time it was. Okay, I don't know what happens. They all split up. We get like a little montage, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Oh, Tobias is here. We see Tobias again finally. Remember he was
yeah.
doing stuff?
But he's just here by coincidence. He's not with the Animorphs.
Yeah, he's still looking for these hawk spray paint things, and he sees who I guess must be Skater Kid or something spray painting one of them, and he like chases him, but he doesn't get him.
Again, at this point, yeah, we get a chase scene around a carousel, which is just not exciting at all.
Why wouldn't you just like stand to the side of the
Yeah.
carousel and wait for him to get off? Like, where's he
Yeah,
gonna fucking go?
He runs through the middle. You could easily just like go walk around and get to the carousel on the other side. It's such a silly, just them trying desperately to come up with something interesting to film visually. But at this point, why is Tobias chasing this kid? Because he's spray painting hawks. We have no idea why this is relevant, and Tobias shouldn't either. And he also hasn't talked about this to any other Animorph. This is all just his own thing he's doing in his own time. It's so weird. If you think about it for 2 seconds, there's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah, it is just the weirdest fucking thing. I guess he gets like a print of it here, so he's gonna like scan it later. But yeah, it's just it doesn't make any sense. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why he's doing this.
Oh yeah,
Is this why did he blow? I can't tell. Did he blow off Rachel at the dance because he's too busy investigating this, or because he feels weird about being a hawk? I literally don't know. It could be either of them. I don't fucking know. Why is he doing anything?
Yeah. Why is he doing anything? I don't believe Tobias interacts with any Animorphs other than Rachel in these 3 episodes.
Yes, I think that is correct.
Maybe not doesn't even appear in a scene with them.
Yes, I think that is correct. And I think we've already got past his only interaction with Rachel. Oh, no. He, at the very end, he interacts with Rachel again, and I guess is technically in a scene with the others.
Okay.
Wee.
Yeah, so he takes a newspaper and copies the hawk graffiti like silly putty. As
Yeah.
if like you can't just remember what a hawk looks like. I don't really
Well,
I guess He's gonna scan it.
Yeah, he's gonna scan it into the computer and reverse image search it or some shit.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. Whatever. Fucking Cassie sees Axe buying stuff, but he doesn't respond to her, so now she's suspicious of him because he's buying stuff, which is gonna start a plot line. I don't
Yeah.
fucking whatever. We get fucking Harold's Casio theme again, which sucks because he's here and he finds Rachel, but he already dropped off the tape. It's
By the
like
way, I
they're
believe.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No. Yeah.
So it's like they're trying to do the fucking it's the Bulk and Skull thing, except his theme sucks and isn't fun.
I think it's kind of fun.
I don't like it.
I think they're in the same store that Axe tried to buy a boombox in. By the way,
Could be right.
it looks like it. If you could see, if someone made like a chart of the plots in this episode, in these 3 episodes, it's very strange how they overlap, and there's just not much logic to it. Like as you said, we just started like a 3rd or 4th one now. And then
Yeah.
we have like the dance is underneath all of it. We had the toilet, which ended like immediately. The Visser 3, which like pops up every once in a while. It's so all over the place. I really don't get why these are 3 parts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get why it's 3 parts either, but it does, that was the thing I was wondering is just like, did they have another half season's worth of episodes and they were like, fuck it, we got to put 9 episodes into 3 because that's how many we got left. And I guess we'll make it a 3-parter because I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
maybe. Maybe.
Yeah. I don't fucking know. It's weird. At Siberia, Cassie tells
Cass.
Marco that she thinks
Mark and
Axe is
Cass.
a controller. Casso and Marky.
Yeah, I don't know. She's like, Axe is acting weird. And I was just going, was he? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I am so, there's so many plots going on that the Cassie Axe thing is just lost to me.
He was at a store buying stuff. Why would he do that? And then Cassie was like, Axe. And then he just left. That's weird, right? He must be a controller? I don't really know. They didn't have time to set up the Axe as being suspicious plotline because they're already doing this Harold plotline in the middle of the fucking. There's going to be more Visser 3 stuff, and also there's a dance, and also there's Tobias stuff. So fucking Axe might be a controller now, everyone.
I don't even remember her saying that. That's how insignificant it is.
Now it looks like Cassie is eating, I guess it's nachos? What the hell is she eating? And Marco's got a green salad. I think they swapped plates here.
It is strange. He has a salad and she has a full plate of nachos, which is not usually something you just get for your meal. Like that should be something they're sharing together.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I could see Marco getting that, and I could see Axe getting that for sure. But Cassie, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and of course they're both like untouched, perfect plates because
right. Yeah, of course.
Like Marco kind of makes some lame show of pretending to eat, but he's not really eating.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't want his salad. He wants.
Yeah, they should have had. Rachel should have been like, "Whoa, look at that salad," because she's a vegetarian.
Right. Yeah.
This is now. You must have felt a little vindicated here.
In what sense?
I can't. I think it's Rachel makes a crack at Marco's hair.
Yes, that's true. She does. It's not as bad as it was last episode, but there's still a little of it.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Like that makes you wonder, is that just a joke because haha they're making fun of each other, or was his hair intentionally a little silly?
I mean, it does feel like they keep changing his hairstyle a little bit, and it is always like notable. It's not just like generic cut. So I feel like they are playing with it.
Yeah. Next.
Boy, what a great episode this is.
Next.
All right, they're at the fucking the TV place. They show up as, I don't know, some kind of lizard. Skinks? Something?
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't know. Delivery guy Chuck delivers a box and they've chewed a hole in it, so they're there. Um, Rachel wants to eat a bug. I don't know. You have any thoughts about that?
No, I mean, jumped into this just like the show does, but it's
Yeah.
we don't see a scene of like how did they find this package? How did they locate which package it was? Because Harold says he already dropped it off, so that they have to like break into the mailroom. How did that work? We don't see any of that. We just cut right to boxes delivered to studio. Like,
Yeah.
okay. I guess that's what happened. I don't know. And now this is, and of course we see Visser 3, aka whatever the fuck his name was.
Yeah.
On the
Tessmacher.
Tessmacher. But like, is this why he took that morph, or is this just a coincidence? I don't know.
It's so strange. So like fucking okay. uh, He's in here. So Rachel and Jake have to like hide. So they're here because they have to get this videotape that Harold sent in with Marco on it.
Yeah.
But then Visser 3 also shows up because he wants to broadcast a program, and it's this really shitty sitcom. But like I guess it hypnotizes you or something, maybe. I can't quite tell. He shows it to Mr. Goldstone here, who we mentioned. He's played by whoever, I don't remember. And then
Yeah.
I guess it like starts flashing. So I guess the assumption is that this guy's gonna get hypnotized. But then Visser 3 also infests him while he's watching it.
I
So,
think
like,
it
he's not hypnotized, he's yerked.
right.
But then Jake
It
and
put
Rachel are like, we have to make sure it doesn't go on the air because otherwise it'll hypnotize people.
well,
Do you
it puts you in a trance, I think, is the point. And then while you're in the trance, that's when you're susceptible to yerk infestation.
So they're gonna broadcast this television program and then go house to house while people are watching it and just put yerks in
Well,
people's ears?
Yeah,
Is
okay.
that
Now
the plan?
step 2 of the plan, I'm not sure how that happens, but that does seem to be what happens in this scene.
What a weird. But like they already had to break into the TV place for a different plot, so now they're doing another plot with the TV place that they've already broken in for just by sheer why not
Yeah.
why not be like some guy at the TV thing is a controller and he saw a morph but he doesn't know who morphed in. I guess then they'd know there were humans. I don't fucking know. Why not just not put the yerks? They didn't put the yerks in last episode. Visser 3 doesn't have to be here.
If Harold had not gotten this footage, they never would have gone into the TV studio. They wouldn't have learned about this other coincidental plot, and it would have just happened, and the Yerks would have won.
I mean, here's the really weird thing, is that fucking, we're gonna find out that apparently Visser 3 says, hey, make sure that this airs in the world's weirdest videos time slot. So they were never gonna air Harold's video, because they were gonna air this instead. So it just, the Harold plotline doesn't really matter, I guess, because now we're on the Visser 3 thing, except they still have to get the videotape, because what if somebody looks at it and, like, it's just, I don't know what they're doing. What is all of this?
It's a real O. Henry story, you know? The Animorphs are trying to get the one tape, and Visser 3 doesn't realize he could just
Right.
play that tape, and I don't actually know what even would happen from that. I guess they would find out Marco's an Animorph, but whatever. It is completely unnecessary. There's no reason to introduce another plot of also getting a tape. It doesn't add anything to the story. It's
insane.
redundant. It's completely redundant. It is so weird.
And remember that the reason that Marco and Cassie and Axe aren't here is because Axe is being suspicious doing something, so Marco and Cassie are on that right now. That's why it's only Jake and Rachel here. Like, so we've got more storylines going on. Like, this isn't the only... We've got so much we need to do.
Also,
We need to. What?
the show does seem good. The sitcom they're watching does seem good.
I couldn't help but notice that, the guy's name is Chris. He always kind of messes up and people lecture, and I couldn't help but think, a good name for this might be Everybody Hates Chris. Wouldn't be a bad
Okay.
name for this show.
Sure.
That's what I was just thinking. You could call it that if you wanted.
Well, that might offend Christopher Ralph.
That's true.
Also, I don't know if I caught this correctly, but at one point he says something about airing it on the network, and it sounds like he says the name of the network is IBS.
I think I remember hearing that too.
I replayed it like
canon.
twice to see if I could make it out, and it really sounds like he says IBS.
The IBS network. That's what it is.
International Broadcast Studio or something.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this whole thing is absurd.
It's ridiculous. This yerk also that Visser 3 puts in his ear, normally they have slugs, but it's like curling around. It looks like a worm this time. They changed their yerk up, I think.
It might be one of the new breed.
The new brood.
Oh, sorry,
From
the new brood.
From the brood room, the broom closet, broom chamber.
Oh, no. Okay, calm down, please.
I'm going to get there. I'll figure it out.
Please. You can't lose it yet. We got a lot more to get through.
Don't worry, folks. We're almost done.
Let's
We're
get
almost
back to
halfway
the
done.
Axe plot. Because he's building something in what appears to be like a fallout shelter.
Yeah, what the fuck? They follow him. Okay, this might be the worst following I've seen in Animorphs so far.
Something.
Cassie is sneaking around behind Axe, and by behind I mean 10 feet behind him. There's a point where he turns around and she is hiding behind a single branch of an evergreen tree in the park. It's just the worst. Anyway, she and Marco follow him, and yeah, where the fuck is Axe? It's in the park. It's literally 10 feet out of where there's a playground with a slide. It's a big metal concrete, or it's a big concrete box inset into the hill with a metal door with one of those wheels that you have to crank to open it. And it has a fucking radiation symbol on it. It's legitimately a fallout shelter or a nuclear silo right next to this children's park. I don't know what the fuck this thing is.
In Canada, they just have those everywhere.
Sure, I guess. Why not?
Yeah, it's odd. I think that's where his scoop is too.
Maybe that's what a scoop is.
Yeah, maybe a scoop is a fallout shelter.
Yeah. I don't know. They go in there. There's he's building they see it, I guess they know it's a ship, but it looks like a weird patchwork hut gazebo, but it's a ship.
Yeah.
Because he wants to go home and he's being very awkward about it. He's like, oh, I didn't want to tell you. I just wanted to leave, to just go away and not tell anybody where I went. You probably would all assume I got captured by Yerks or killed or something. I was just going to leave and I didn't want to talk about it. Strange plot. That's why he's been acting suspicious, but actually it's cool because he's going to tell the Andalites to bring more Andalites to help them. So they're like, cool,
Does he
Axe,
say
let's
that?
get your ship off the ground. Yeah, he's like, he does the joke where he puts on the fucking voice and he's like, okay, Pilgrim, time to call in the celery. And they're like, Axe, you mean cavalry or something.
Yeah, well, I thought that was a nice tip of the hat to the books. Because I think that was a reference to how, Marco always calls Jake Big Jake.
Right.
So that's why he does a John Wayne impression.
Right.
Because remember, we watched Big Jake on the Patreon.
I do remember
and we forgot,
that we did
we
that.
forgot to plug the Patreon in the.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably for the best. That's for the best.
Well, now is the perfect time, because if you've gotten this far, you're exactly the sort of person who would, or you could not. We don't have to.
We'll
Nobody give us money. Do you really want to encourage us for this? For what we've done here today?
Just look at your timestamps, people. Look how much there is left. And weep.
Oh my god. Oh,
You could have watched There Will Be Blood. I don't know.
It
Anyway,
is weird. Like, isn't this the first Axe plot though? Because like in the books, the first Axe plot is he wants to go home, and like here, it's like, okay, I guess in the first one here, he wants to contact, but like, why does he want to go home all of a sudden? Why doesn't he talk to them about it? Why doesn't anybody have any opinions on this? Like, it's just so out of nowhere. It's just like I
yeah.
don't know. Here's another plot we could do for an episode. What if Axe tries to build a ship to go home? Do it. Send it. We got 10 minutes to fill in this episode, because we could put a B plot in it. I don't
I
get it.
figured out what makes this episode work.
Mhm.
I think this is the missing piece.
Mhm.
In between every one of these scenes, you cut to the Animorphs sitting around in the barn, and one of them goes, "Hey, remember that time Axe tried to build a spaceship?" This is a clip show, and we just don't realize that we're watching a clip show. This is like deleted scenes from episodes they didn't finish. That really would tie it all together.
It would tie it all together, I guess.
Anyway,
So these two
yeah.
things are gonna tie together. These two storylines, believe it or not.
Do I believe it?
Do you remember what happens in this episode? Because I didn't
This
until
one?
I rewatched
Or
it for my notes.
part 3?
No, right now.
Oh, what happens now?
Well, okay, so you remember Rachel, I don't know if we said this yet, but Rachel and Jake, they're in the room, the control room. Rachel turned into a snake
Oh,
to scare
right.
the guys out, and there's the videotape, right? The
Right,
Visser 3's new
right.
Hypnotize show is going to go on at 8
Right.
p.m. And so
Right.
Axe his ship's going to take off in 5. Oh no, the tape's going on in 4, and it intercuts back and forth with 3 too. And then Axe launches, and his ship fucks up and fails, and it blows out the power grid, so the TV station turns off, and the program doesn't go on the air, so they're saved. And then they take the videotape out, and Jake puts it in his mouth and runs away as a dog with Rachel on his back as a lizard. And Visser 3 was there for that too. He was like outside the door trying to get in. So that's kind of cool. You like that.
Yeah, he didn't use Dracon beams though. They had like a little fire, like a little blowtorch or something
Yeah, right.
to bust down a door.
Right.
It is such a silly coincidence. It's so contrived that this would save the day.
It's not fucking
Yeah.
enough that it doesn't matter about the Herald tape because of the Visser 3 tape. It doesn't matter about the
Right.
Visser 3 tape because of the Axe launch.
That's right.
Like what, Visser 3 doesn't have a backup sitcom that he can just air tomorrow night? Oops, power went out and they took it. And that's
Well,
it.
that is
We're
true
done.
to the books, as we know. It is
That's
Wile E.
true, yeah.
Coyote rules. They don't try a
Right.
plan twice.
Yeah. And now that he's yerked the head of this broadcast network, that doesn't matter either. Like, who cares?
They don't even. Oh yeah, I guess they do know now. They found that out. Yeah, good job, Axe. You did it. You saved the day. Kyle Gass picked up a book and started reading.
What?
As a reference, pretty much just for me.
Okay.
From the movie The Cable Guy.
Oh, how did I? Well, it's been a while since I've seen it. I think it's time for a rewatch. If I'm missing Cable Guy refs, then
Yeah. Okay, and then Tobias is scanning his hawk at the end of the
Yeah.
episode.
He gets a message that's like, "Join us if you want to save the world." Now, I will say, he's scanning it. It uploads it to the web. There appear to be separate upload bars for the R, G, and B components of the image. And the upload bars also appear to just kind of jitter back and forth, up and down, rather than consistently going up. So that is kind of odd in a way.
The scanning process is not very believable. Also, I mean, nothing about this. Look, it's ludicrous. What is this? This group goes around putting up hawk graffiti in the hopes that people will scan it and find out that they're a secret society and join them. Why? What? Who is going to do that?
Yeah, people see the hawks, they go, "That's so cool. I'll scan it into the computer." And then the computer will be like downloading one of one messages once you upload it.
Completely insane. At this point, I was wondering, oh, is this the Yerk resistance? Right?
Sure. Could be.
Could be.
Yeah, I wonder why they use a hawk. Maybe they're
Why
aware
a
that one of
hawk?
the Andalite bandits is always a hawk. We'll find
Yeah.
out why they
We
use a hawk.
will?
They say it.
They do.
They do say it.
Okay, I can't wait to find out.
I don't blame you for not remembering.
Okay. Well, we got one part left to go. Let's wrap this show up.
Yeah,
We're almost done.
we fucking wrapped up Harold. We fucking
Yes.
wrapped up Visser 3, which was basically entirely this episode. Like he doesn't have a plan next episode. He's in it, but he doesn't matter. We wrapped up Axe wanting to go home.
Right.
So now the only plot threads that left are that Tobias is doing this hawk thing and the dance.
Yeah. That's right. That's kind of yeah.
It's so fucking crazy that we're just done with all of those now. Well, on to the next part. This is still a 3-parter for some reason.
Tobias, now we know that this is the true plot of these 3 episodes. Well, it's really the dance.
Yeah.
That's really all about the dance.
Oh yeah, the dance is you're gonna love what they do with the dance, because it's super interesting and was worth stretching out into 3 episodes. It's gonna be a real big, huge plot line that's important.
So yeah. Let's do it. Let's get right into part 3.
Alright, fucking part 3. Okay, so you remember how Tobias scanned this thing into a computer, and the
Couldn't
computer
forget.
gave him a message?
Yeah.
Well, so Tobias finds the secret lair of this resistance by walking around until he sees hawk graffiti and then following the graffiti into an alleyway. Has nothing to do with the message. The message just said, "Join us." And then he just walks around till he sees more graffiti. So none of that computer thing mattered at all.
Yeah, there's no coordinates or anything, no riddle to solve. It was just hey.
He could have
Find
just looked
us.
around. Now, I do love as he's walking down this alley, and there's just fucking hawks every 2 feet spray painted on the wall, just to make sure you don't miss it.
I think this is maybe part of why I thought there was some like internet game or something in real life about like find these hawks and join the resistance. Like that was a marketing thing. But maybe I'm like confusing 2 different things in my head.
I mean, there was like a Animorphs Alliance fan letter website thing you could sign up for that they made a big marketing campaign of when the series was about to come to an end. But I don't remember it having this symbol.
Yeah. Feels like
I
it
don't
would have been good marketing if they did them at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, this would have come far before that, I think. I don't
Yeah.
fucking know.
I think you're right.
All right. There's whatever. Tobias, there's like a locked door. The skateboard dude or whatever who is spray painting the hawks lets him in, and there's like a group of people. And there's this guy who this is Hugo, who we credited at the opening. He's like sitting in a chair like fucking Morpheus or some shit, and he's got like a scanner to check if Tobias is good. So I guess
It's
they're
like a
your
UV light.
Yeah. It doesn't look like the others. Like, they've had scanner wands before. This looks different than those.
Well, this isn't Yerk Tech. This is their own proprietary Yerk scanner.
Yeah, right, sure. That could be true. Fucking Revelin or whatever, who we're gonna meet later, made it.
Yeah.
You remember her.
So, right. Sure. So we
All
don't
right.
really know what these guys' deal is yet.
Yeah, we don't know yet, because first we go back to the school, and there's, like, a cheerleader, and Marco tries to hit on her using the bunny he's got, which is, I believe, Axe. But then the bunny starts throwing up, so she's not into it.
Now
So
this
that's
this is
you
maybe
know.
my favorite scene in all 3 parts.
I get it. It's good. I mean, Marco hits on a girl, bunny, Axe throws up. What's not to like?
Yeah, this is some classic funny Marco schemes, Marco's spitting game, you know? It's pretty good. I did kind of wonder because, like, so the idea is that he's like, "Oh, look how cute my rabbit is to pick up
Yeah.
girls." That's his deal with Axe. First of all, I mean, you could just get a rabbit. Like, you don't need Animorph powers to make this scheme work. Second of all, he could have morphed like a puppy. That probably would have made more sense. Third of all, if you're gonna go with a rabbit, you couldn't pick a cuter rabbit. This isn't like a little pet bunny rabbit. It's like a big ass hare. It's like a fucking full grown like big white rabbit. It's like a lab animal rabbit. It's not a
I
cute
like him.
little
You
tiny
don't
bunny.
just because he's gigantic doesn't mean he's not cute.
Look,
I like the bunny.
he's cute enough. I just feel like if you're trying
Bunny.
to pick up girls, that's not the bunny you go with. That bunny just looks too it's not cute enough. It's just not cute enough. I'm sorry.
Well, you're the expert.
At which part?
I mean, also right off the bat, I will say I do think that Marco is out of this girl's league. Like as
Wow.
she's running up, she's supposed to be a cheerleader, right? So you'd think she'd be athletic. As she's running up, she's kind of like flailing her arms awkwardly in a way that just implies to me that she's probably not very good at what she does, and Marco could do better, I think.
At cheerleading?
Sure, at anything really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
Well,
not.
Marco's
It's no big
dejected
loss. Yeah.
and he encounters the world's most evil maintenance man.
Well, first, actually, Axe is about to morph
Oh.
back. I want to talk about this morph
Oh,
back
sure, sure.
because Axe has to morph back, and what they do is they just put a blue filter over the bunny, so he like turns blue-ish, doesn't change shape, and they put like magical musical sting over, like a little magic man like doo-doo-doo-doo thing over it, but then he doesn't change. He just turns fucking blue-ish, and then they cut, and there's not even an Axe. They don't even cut to Axe.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they were like, we need to let the audience know he will be Axe, but
He'll
we just
totally do
don't
it.
have time to do that effect.
Yeah. I guess this maintenance man that Marco runs into is a controller or something.
I get he either is a controller or, like I said, he's just an evil maintenance man.
Yeah. Maybe he just doesn't want to fucking put up with these high schoolers bullshit, and Marco's
Yeah.
giving him lip, and he's like, God fucking Jesus.
Yeah, what is even happening here? Remind me why this maintenance man, what he's doing?
They say there's a gas leak, but actually a York pool gets installed in, I don't know, somewhere. The janitor's closet? Underneath the gym? I'm not sure.
But like, did something? There still is one there, right? Or did they like blow it up in that other episode or something?
Yeah, it got blown up. That's why Eugene Lipinski is a wanted man, because there was an explosion under the
Right. I guess
town.
I just didn't realize that, like, you know, did it cave in? Like,
Sure.
couldn't
There
they
were some
just
shots of it caving in.
couldn't they just go back under there and like rebuild it? I don't really.
That's what they're doing, maybe,
Why is
possibly.
he
I don't
here?
know.
Why is he on the surface? Why doesn't he just go underground?
They don't want kids getting in. I'm not even entirely sure where this thing is, because like later Marco does investigate, and it sure looks like he's just looking into a janitor's closet. But then even later they say that the plan is that they're gonna collapse the gym floor, and everyone's gonna like fall into the York pool, which is not. So I really have no fucking clue what's happening here. Like none of it
Okay, cool.
tracks. I don't know. There's a York plan. They're scheming right now. They're schemers.
They're always scheming,
I do know about that.
like Keenan
Um,
and Kel.
yeah. Back to Tobias. So okay. So these guys
Tobias.
are all freed controllers, right? They're humans who used to be controllers, and they're forming a resistance movement.
That's
And
what we discover.
yes, that's what we discover. And Tobias is like, Yerks, what a crazy story. I don't believe you guys. And they're like, we can't let you leave if you don't believe. And like, I get not being like, I'm one of the Endolite bandits. Why can't he just be like, I know I used to be a Yerk. He's already a runaway kid. Why does he, or even if he is going to be like, oh, I don't know about all that, They keep up the plot line of him trying to run away or pretend to not believe them for like half the fucking episode. And I just don't understand why they made this choice.
There's gotta be tension.
I
You can't
guess.
trust them. You gotta trust no one. Although
Sure.
it does kind of beg the question, what was he expecting to do once he got here? What did he think he was going to find? What was his plan? Why didn't he morph into a bug or something to do some recon before going in?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I get it. Maybe he's playing the part, right? Like, if it's too easy, they won't believe him. But like, he keeps like being like, okay, I believe you guys, and they're like, okay, he's cool. And then he like tries to take off, and they have to grab him again. Like, what the fuck is happening? It's just a waste. It's a waste
it's
of
just
time. It's like this
stuff
podcast.
for them to do. It's just stuff for actors to do. I mean, I'm constantly just asking where Erek is during all three of these parts.
Yeah.
But this sure seems like the kind of thing Erek should be privy to.
Yeah.
His whole job, the Cheese entire operation is gathering info and intel on what's going on in regards to Yerks and all this kind of stuff.
Not in this show. In this show,
Yeah.
all Erek said was, I also fight the Yerks. That's all we know.
Unless they steal his crystal specifically, he's not involved.
Yeah, I don't fucking know what Erek does in this show. It's so
Nothing
weird.
anymore. We've seen it. We've seen all he does.
We have seen it. There's no more Erek. No more Erek. No more Melissa. No more Eugene
Victor
Lipinski.
Trent.
All the things that made life worth living. It's all over now.
We barely even get Tobias as a hawk. I miss those squawks.
That's true. Yeah, I do miss those squawks.
Now,
How about this box?
Yeah, I was gonna get to the box.
Because Cassie, this is where Cassie gives Jake her grandfather's suit, but she gives it to him in a box. You want to read what the box says for me, Jonathan?
The box has a label like a like a department store, like a clothing store label.
Yeah.
It has got like a top hat and some gloves. It's clearly a fancy boutique.
Mm-hmm.
And it is labeled Skeefingtons. So I guess that's where, I don't know if this is a box that it was like the original box that the suit came in, or this is
that's true. It's not like she bought this. This is her. Was this where her grandpa got it?
I guess.
Did she buy some other expensive thing and just put this in it? Some prop person made this, and they wrote Skeefingtons on it. Unless maybe Skeefingtons, is it a real company?
It's probably
Is
a
there
Canadian place.
Skeefingtons?
Yeah, why not?
Skeefingtons.
Take your time.
Well, here's Skeffington's formal wear, Iowa's leading student tux rental.
Okay, well, that's really weird that's that close and it's also the same thing.
Yeah,
maybe it's
it
that
definitely
logo.
does not say Skeffingtons.
Maybe they just added an E so they wouldn't get sued.
This does appear to be in Iowa, the Midwest's premier provider. Does this reach up into Canada?
Yeah, it probably does.
This does not appear to be.
We got to move on.
Outside of Iowa.
We got to move on.
It's too late for that. We're already well past the moving on point.
No.
We're
we
in
can
it
wrap
now.
this thing up. We're going to wrap up soon. Listen, I did think this dialogue with Cassie and Jake, I'll just say, was pretty cringe.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. I just wanted to hear them being all lovey-dovey with each other. Yuck. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the part where they're like, oh no, we're totally not a couple. Oh, we're just friends. Oh, but are we the kind of friends that go out for a cappuccino? Would you go out for a cappuccino with your high school sweetheart while you're in high school? Is that how you would ask someone out if you were in 10th grade? Would you be like, want to go get a cappuccino with me?
I would if I was a teenager on a TV show.
Huh. It isn't. Sure.
In real life, no, but in TV shows, yeah, teenagers are doing that all the time.
Yeah, but in real life, you wouldn't ask a girl out because that's too scary.
Well, I wouldn't have to. They were always knocking
Right.
themselves over to get to me.
Oh, that's also true. Yeah.
Yeah. It's 'cause
Uh,
I was constantly walking all over the place with those big rabbits.
I thought you had the little rabbits, and that's why it worked.
Well, it depends. Plus, I also had the tapes with the kids turning into dogs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it was like a 50-50. If one didn't work, usually the other did.
Remember in the books when Marco turned into a dog and he was like, "Ladies love dogs." That
Remember
was
when
nice when that happened.
Jake turned into a dog and he approached that child at the playground?
Oh yeah, that was less nice.
I didn't want you to forget about that.
I was just trying to reminisce about, the books for a bit here.
But the problem is we really have to talk about this show.
Yeah, we do. There's not that much left.
Well, now we're back in this resistance. I don't know
Right.
if they have a name for themselves.
I don't remember one. I'll see if I wrote it down anywhere, but
Yeah, I think they're called the Woodbine Center.
this is the
And
part where they tell why it's a hawk.
okay, so yeah, because I see I have a note here where I wrote they just randomly picked a hawk.
Okay, so the quote is, "We
Yeah.
picked the hawk because it's a bird of prey, just like we were gonna hunt these yerks down."
Right.
So it has
So I guess
nothing to
it's
do. You might
yeah.
think like, Tobias has got a whole thing about how being a bird symbolizes like freedom for him. And like maybe these guys picked the bird because it's a symbol of freedom to them because it can go through or something. Maybe there'd be some tie-in. Hawks hunt, you see.
Now, what that would actually make it cool is if they said, "Oh, we know that when we were controllers, we're always dealing with the Andalite bandits, so we
Mhm.
picked a hawk because the hawk is always there, taking on the Yerks, and we respect that Andalite."
Sure
Because
would be
then
cool.
it actually would be tied into him, and he'd be like, "Holy shit, I'm making a difference." Except that
Yeah.
he's not usually even in most of the episodes, so.
Yeah, I mean, like this whole episode, I was thinking, like, man, the idea of, and I said it before in Perkins, the idea of like an underground human resistance that they work with is cool. But man, the idea of an underground human resistance that Tobias infiltrates, in a sense, like he's there, and they're all like, "Oh, he's just a freed human controller helping us." But they don't know that he's actually one of the Andalite bandits, and like they coordinate with the Andalite bandits, but they never know they're human. Like, that's cool. That's a cool idea. They never do anything with that. Like, that doesn't come up. And it does feel very much like they just, like, I don't give a shit about Perkins. I could care about Hugo here. He could be fun. But, like, I don't know. They don't do anything with them. They're just here.
I
They
mean,
fight the
yeah,
Yerks.
yeah. Well, like, there's hardly any time, even if not that they would, but like we
Yeah.
meet them. This episode's over. The show's over. I
Right.
mean,
Well, imagine if the whole three-parter had been about them,
yeah,
you
that would
know?
be pretty cool.
And they were around and we
They could have
didn't do
been
all
like
that
the
other
auxiliary Animorphs.
fucking bullshit. That could be cool. Uh,
Anyway, Tobias gets into trouble though, because Oopsie, he drops his disc.
yeah. While he's trying to escape, I don't know why he's doing that, but he drops his disc, and they're like, "What's that disc? We better take it to our tech expert." Some chick named I swear to God, her name is Revelin. I
Yeah,
that's
I
not
think
a
that's
name,
correct.
right?
I think it's like a Matrix name. It's
Sure.
like Cypher.
There are some Matrixy parts here that made me feel
For
like they
sure.
watched The Matrix.
Well, I think that I mean, I just rewatched Minority Report, the movie
Mhm.
a few weeks ago, and I do think if you watch anything after The Matrix came out, it's clear that The Matrix came out.
Mm.
I mean, I think you could say the same. I think we maybe said this about X-Men last week on the Patreon too. It's like that movie just influenced everything.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think this is
Yeah.
very Matrixy.
There are a number of shots here where it does feel like the director watched The Matrix a couple months ago and was like, "Fuck, I should do that too. That would be cool, right?" And then tries it for sure. Um,
Yeah.
but Revelin is their tech genius. She is a human and she used to be Yerked, and she looks at all their Yerk and Andalite tech. So she's like, "Oh, a disc, huh? I bet I could make this work with the disc holder, the extra spare disc holder that I just happen to have for some reason." The Animorphs have their own disc holder, but he didn't carry it around with him.
No,
Uh,
just the disc.
Why? Again, I said before, you could have used Erek, or you could have used Axe, or you could have just had Tobias continue to explain. Who the fuck are what? Why this lady? Why do I care? What? Who is this? Why does she know how to do this? She was a controller, right? So she knows Yerk tech. The other Yerks couldn't get this thing to work. How does she know this? What the fuck is this? What is it? What's happening? Why do they even need to think about how it works? Didn't Tobias start unlocking the secrets already with his DNA? Why do we need to unlock the secrets again? It's ridiculous. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
They sure do act like we didn't already figure out what the disc is.
Yeah,
She's maybe a chi. She's maybe a chi.
that's possible, I guess.
I also am wondering. Well, it's funny you talk about like, oh, they have their own disc holder, because in the beginning, remember, we didn't even I thought the disc was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like we never even saw the disc by itself, and now for some reason he only carries the disc. I don't know what happened. Why do they give a shit about this disc is what I'm wondering. Because it doesn't look like it looks like trash. Like, to remind the listeners,
It has Andalite writing on it, they say, although
I
I'm not quite sure that it
guess.
does.
Yeah, it has like a symbol on it, but it looks like a plastic token with shitty glitter on it. It looks like a pog. Like, it looks like nothing.
Yeah.
The idea that they immediately are like, oh, what's that?
This is a coin that comes from your
Cereal
Pokemon
box.
pre-con deck that you bought to
Yeah,
flip.
right.
It's got a Pikachu on it.
That's exactly what it looks like. Yes. It's so silly, but yeah, I guess they've they worked in the lab. They have enough knowledge. They stole the tech. I don't know.
Sure.
And they also have the technology to hook the disc up to some goggles, but I guess we're not there yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Fucking. Can I also say there's a flashback where Hugo, the leader of this group, is talking about how he got away. And literally, it's just he's standing there in the Yerk pool, and two controllers drag some guy over to the pool, and Hugo kind of looks at him like, whoop, and just kind of sneaks off and runs up the stairs. And I guess that's the story of how he got away.
Well, I remember every time we've seen the Yerk pool, at least recently, there isn't always that much security down there. The Hork-Bajirs are gone. We do never see a Hork-Bajir again at all in season 2. They do not even get a mention. They don't exist anymore.
We're done with those. Yeah, I was wondering, maybe they tried to infest him at Face Off last season conclusion. Maybe that's when he got out, because I was complaining about
Yeah.
the security back then.
That would be pretty good.
All
right, so Marco's sneaking around the school. Who gives a shit? It's boring.
Yeah, there's a little poster. It says, "Think it's cool to smoke cigarettes? Think again."
We've definitely seen that poster and commented on it before.
Yeah. He has to turn into a lizard, and then some teacher picks him up and puts him in a cage in the science room. And it's so casual and like nonchalant, and there's not another lizard in that cage. So like I don't understand what's happening. Like, is the teacher over here? Like, he's not like, oh shit, a lizard, better go take that back to the cage. He's not like, oh no, uh, uh, like, there wasn't a lizard there, so
The lizard isn't missing.
Yeah, no,
this
there
is
is
just-
no lizard. That he doesn't come back and say, "Oh, damn, the lizard." Wait, the lizard's already there. Just was a lizard. So, I mean, my assumption
calm down.
is that he was like, "I need a lizard for class. I'll get the cage, and then I'll just kind of look around the school till I find a lizard. There's lizards running around here. There's one. All right, got him. Put it in the cage. Cool, good. Lizard gotten."
Maybe he's not the science teacher. Maybe he's just assuming, oh, this lizard must belong in a cage, and just throws
Why is there
it
a
in
lizard cage there?
Well, maybe it's a cage for something else that just happens to be empty, and he's just like, that must be where the lizard goes.
Sure.
But it is very funny how his expression is completely stone faced as he picks up this lizard, like as if you would like pick up trash off the floor to throw away. He's just like, oh,
Yeah.
lizard. Like, I know where that
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah. You find like fucking, I don't know, some shit, that a test tube, and you're like, put that back on the counter in the science room. That's where it
Well, don't
goes. I know
they
where it goes.
in Florida? Aren't there lizards everywhere? Or is that more Florida? I mean, sorry, fuck. I meant in California, or is that more Florida?
I was trying
Or
to
is it
figure
both?
out what the hell you meant. I don't. There's lizard. I'm sure there's lizards everywhere in Florida. There's got to be, right?
That I know, yes, because I know that is true. There's like geckos and shit all over the place. I don't know if that's a thing in California or not.
The problem with California is that it's like fucking 600 miles tall.
Hmm. And it's also too like developed. I mean, Florida is too, but there's also like swamps and shit.
I mean, other than the parts that just aren't. California's fucking huge.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of specifically, I guess, the Southern California, like where Animorphs are.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's lizards. Why not?
That's
There's
the only.
lizards
I'm just
everywhere.
trying to rationalize it because that could be like, if you're used to seeing lizards everywhere, you're like, it's one of them lizards again.
Yeah,
You know,
one of them
you know.
lizards. I mean, that's clearly what he's doing. I don't know.
Okay,
The
let's
lizards.
talk about Chapman's outfit for the dance.
Yeah.
He-
Fucking. What the fuck is Chapman wearing? What is he wearing?
He's
What's
got-
happening?
It's kind of like a Western thing. He's got like a white button-down shirt and like in a black suit, but it almost looks like it's a leather jacket for the suit, like it's shiny. And then he's got those two little, I don't know what they're called. It's not like a traditional tie. It's almost like two triangular pieces on either side of the buttons. I feel like you would see in like a cowboy Western when they're dressing up fancy to go to the saloon.
Yeah, and there's like some kind of weird brooch on his
Yeah.
in the middle.
It's
I
got like
I
a
don't.
shiny thing.
Yeah, and you said it's like it's leather, but really what he's wearing is like a normal like suit jacket. But then he's got like leather shoulder pads like draped over the shoulders or something. Like it's
Is that what
just
it is?
leather
Yeah, I don't
on the
know.
top of his shoulder collarbone thing. It's nowhere. I've never seen anything like this before.
It looks really cool. And meanwhile, Jake has a white scarf because he's wearing a suit from the 1920s.
Right, that's what Cassie's grandpa wore.
Actually, I think they all look kind of dapper.
Sure. Why not?
I like it. I think they look kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I've noticed that their school colors are purple and gold.
Mardi Gras.
Yeah, sure.
Axe in this scene is wearing a blue suit, powder
Yes.
blue.
Yes.
And I think he looks just like Screech from Saved by the Bell. His hair looks way taller than it usually does.
I was gonna say, are you gonna comment on his hair being like a fucking fro?
Yeah, it is.
It's insane. It's crazy.
I don't know what happened. He got a perm for the dance.
Now this
Looks
is
good.
this is the part where Rachel says, "Well, Tobias isn't here, but that gives me a chance to dance with Marco and Jake."
Right. Yeah, she cannot wait
Yeah.
to dance with Marco and Jake.
I'm not exaggerating on the tone there too. Like that is how she said it.
Yeah. It's
Now
really good.
this is the part when she says that where Axe shows up and he's like, "Did you say dance, Rachel? Dance with Rachel?" And Rachel's like, "Ew, creepy weirdo." And I just immediately flashed back to when Axe tried to roofie her, and I don't really know why they're continuing with this thread. I don't get what's happening. What is this dynamic? Why are they doing this?
He's just excited to be a part of human society.
I don't know. It just feels like there's something weird about the way they're portraying his relationship with Rachel as opposed to the others. I don't know. It's just
I
odd.
can't tell if you're doing a bit or if you really do think that.
I mean, I'm exaggerating it for comedic effect, but in all
Okay.
honesty, it is I do get kind of odd vibes from this in the same way I got odd vibes from that scene, and it is weird that it happened twice.
Yeah.
But that's about as far as I actually
It
would
didn't
take
strike
it.
me as weird in this one because at least this is like a normal, like, oh, he wants to dance versus
Sure.
like this drink is for you. It's much weirder.
I probably
Can't
wouldn't
really
think it was
explain
as
that
weird if
one.
it weren't for that.
Yeah. Okay, so then we have like a 5-minute tangent where Marco's a lizard and he's trapped in a tank and Axe finds him. It's completely
Yeah.
like, what is the point of this even happening?
Yeah.
Doesn't
Because, I don't
they
know.
just
Marco
they find
knows about the
him,
plan.
like they find him and then like that's it. Like who cares? It didn't
Yeah.
like Marco could have just shown up. It's
He
not
sure could have.
suspenseful. It's not like, oh no, do we think Marco's going to be a lizard forever? Like
Well, there's a shot of Marco demorphing from the lizard, and maybe they were worried they didn't put enough morphs in this episode.
yeah, it could be.
Need
Could
some
be.
more animals. Everyone's complaining because they never turn into animals.
Yeah,
So
that's
this
what
is
they're complaining about.
where Tobias puts on his like goggles for the disc.
They have VR glasses, a VR headset that for some reason works with the disc. Like,
Now, before Tobias got the disc to work just by touching it, and it made a hologram of Elfangor. So
yeah,
why do they need VR goggles for him?
yeah. And how did they know that it does this? How do they know? Oh, hook that up to the VR goggles. Where did they get them from?
Yeah.
What is any of this?
Why didn't the Yerks do that? Why does Revelin have secret Andalite tech knowledge that neither Axe nor the Yerks have?
Because she's a chi.
She must be. She must be a Chi. Maybe she's an Andalite. Maybe she's Tobias. Maybe this is Lauren.
That's what it is. Anyway, this VR headset does literally take him to the Matrix. Like,
Yeah.
straight up, they zoom out, he's in an armchair. It looks exactly like that
Yeah.
scene in the Matrix.
Like a shitty scene. And then he like sits down and falls back through the chairs into like clouds or something. It really is. You are just watching it like, oh, I see. You watched the Matrix. Except that it doesn't, I don't know. It's not like well done. But you can tell that he just watched The Matrix, Mr. Ron Oliver.
Yes, and a kind of a big deal happens here.
Yeah, Elfangor shows up again, and he's like, "Hey, Tobias, it's me. I am your father," is what he says.
He
says that.
literally says, "I am your father."
Yes. So here's the reveal.
Now, I mean, we cut back and forth a little here, but maybe, I don't know, should we just unpack all the Elfangor stuff now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's just do that now.
Because, as you said, there is no reason to be in here. Why didn't he just tell him this before when he was a hologram?
Yeah.
Why didn't Tobias try to use the disc since then? I don't know.
What does this have to do with the resistance? Like, you'd think, okay, human resistance captures Tobias, and they're the one. So, like, in theory, you write it that way because Elfangor is going to give a message that is relevant to the human resistance, as opposed
Nah.
to only relevant to Tobias and nobody else. Maybe Axe.
They just needed a way for him to figure out how to use the disc, even though he already did.
Yeah, it's so bonkers.
I still don't understand. Like, Elfangor is talking to Tobias about the night they met on Earth, the opening of the series.
Yeah.
So he remembers that night, but he is dead, I think, in this continuity. I don't really know.
He made
So-
his Hirak disc as he was dying? I mean, listen, he put out the Hirak
He
to
hands it to Tobias before he dies. He had how fast is the write speed of this fucking disc? Is it AI? Like, is this a recording? How does this fucking thing work? Is it magic? Is he not dead? Is his soul embodied in this?
We do canonically know that they write and rewrite discs by wiping them across their fur, so in theory it should have stopped writing after Tobias got it from him.
That'd be really funny if Axe was just like, whoops, I picked up the disc. Sorry, guys. Hope nothing important was on that.
I don't know.
It's very confusing if you think about it for too long. All that said, this is something we do not get in the books.
Hmm.
an actual scene with Tobias and Elfangor. I mean, because we don't get a scene with Elfangor and anybody other than
Hmm.
prequels. Um, and it is kind of nice. You do get this sort of a little heartfelt moment of them talking to each other, which I sort of appreciated.
Yeah. To be honest, this particular scene I do like better in the books. The books do have the issue where Tobias stays behind to talk to Elfangor in book one, and that should be a heartfelt scene, but because it's Jake's POV, we just don't see it. Um, but
Hmm.
I mean, listen, rather than having Elfangor come back from beyond the grave, I do really like in the books where Tobias learns the news in human form. Visser 3 is literally watching him to see if he reacts, and he has to use his hawk reflexes to not react because if he gets emotional, then I think that plays into Tobias's whole being a repressed fucko thing, like really well, and it works for me in that way. But I
I
do
think
hear what you're saying.
that's a lot harder. I mean, you could do it, but that's a lot
Hmm.
harder to do in live action with like
Yeah.
you don't have it when you don't have a POV.
Yeah, I'm not saying they
Um,
should have done it that way. I'm just like, I don't know. Like I wasn't missing the fact that this particular scene wasn't Tobias and Elfangor. But I do hear what you're saying about not having anything.
yeah, I mean, I think that was one of my complaints constantly about the series was that I don't really feel like at any point they properly addressed the fact that he is Elfangor's son. Like like on an emotional character level, I feel like they never really deal with it in the way that I wanted them to. Um, so I don't know. Maybe this just
Yeah.
feels like resolution for me.
Yeah, I mean I do think it's true that outside of like Elemist loop bullshit, which you could do anyway, and um some of Lauren's backstory, which could remain basically entirely unchanged and it wouldn't while still taking out like he could just be a deadbeat and it wouldn't matter. Like it does not matter that much to the books that Tobias is Elfangor's son.
Yeah, well, and they're never like I don't even remember when he tells them. Nobody's like, "Holy fuck, this is crazy." You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah,
we don't need to talk about the
yeah,
fucking books. We've done all this
yeah.
already.
No, but I mean I will remind you, because at the end of the book he finds out, and then he goes off and doesn't tell anyone, and then in a later book it's just kind of common knowledge that that's true, and we do
Yeah,
not get a scene where he tells anybody.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Weird. Fucking dumb. Anyway, they don't explain if you're thinking, oh
Yeah,
man, they must go over the Andalite Chronicles. He must tell him about Lauren and Alan Fangor. No, he
no,
just goes, "I'm your dad. Period. End of discussion. Figure it out later."
yeah,
Like we have. If you're watching this again and don't know the books, you don't know, like, what does that mean? Like, is he gonna turn into an Andalite now? Like, what the fuck do you mean you're his dad? How? When?
yeah,
Why? What? How? They don't explain
yeah.
any of it.
Yeah, no, like, I used to be on Earth, no, human form, anything, just literally, I'm your dad, your mom didn't tell you, or whatever the fuck they
Yeah.
say
Oh
about
yeah,
that.
that's
Who's
also
your
your
mom? I don't
mom.
know. Where is she? I don't know.
Yeah, because that's not in the books. Is not that his mom didn't tell him. She like was mind wiped, right? Isn't that right? Or no? Or
Uh,
did she like leave and? But she
yeah,
doesn't
no,
know that he's an alien, right?
yeah, no, she was, like, some weird shit with, the Elemist and fucking that up, but then she sort of remembered, and so she was, like, kind of crazy, and yeah, it's
Mm.
convoluted. And also, I'm pretty sure there are like three different. No, I'm pretty sure there are two different backstories for his mom, depending on when in the series you are, because K. Applegate changed her mind.
It's hard to keep it straight, you know.
Yeah, she was just like, "Oh, it turns out that other one was wrong." Tobias just didn't realize.
Right. All right. So that was all. That's all. But that's your big thing. That's your big moment.
Yeah, so that's
That's
pretty
your.
fun and cool. And that's when Visser 3 shows up. Um, it could have been any controllers, but it's Visser 3. And they have to pull him out. And it's again, it's very much like the scene in The Matrix where Neo is under and he's fighting Smith, and the Sentinels are bearing down, and they're like, just a bit longer, he's almost there, or whatever. Except that they don't really know why he's in there, or do they know what he's saying? It doesn't seem like they do. It seems like they have no idea what he's talking about. How do they know how close he is to getting it? How do they know he doesn't have it? How do they know that it's important? Why are they like, oh no,
Yeah.
I don't understand what's happening
How
in
did
this
they
scene.
find this resistance like right at this moment?
Yeah, I
I
don't know.
don't. They could have been following Tobias, but of course then they would know who he is. But I don't know. There should have been some kind of logic to it.
Yeah, like maybe the humans could have been like, "Oh shit, is he a traitor? Did we just give the Andalite message to a Yerk or some shit?" But
Hmm.
I don't know. They don't say that.
Maybe when Tobias uploads the hawk, like it also they're like, oh, it's in the internet now. We intercepted it, so we also know about this thing.
It's in the internet now. That's true.
Yeah, it's in the internet now.
I don't know.
Anyway, who gives a shit? Doesn't matter. They cart poor Hugo off, and the new
Yeah.
Visser 3 does some bad mugging, and
Yeah, it's not as good as Eugene Lipinski. They step on the disc by mistake, so now it's broken. So there's no more disc.
and that's why the show had to end, because they're like, we're screwed without a disc. What do we
Yeah.
even do?
Yeah. And we get probably the most involved morph in the show.
Go on.
Did you see this? Where Tobias...
Oh, you're talking about effects wise.
Effects wise, yeah. Tobias, we see him morph into a hawk, but it's an action morph. He's facing the camera and he like jumps up into a flying hawk, and he turns from a jumping human into a flying hawk. It's definitely like the most effort they put into any of these.
Yeah, does that count as a moving morph in your opinion?
I think it does. Watching it here, I think this is a moving morph.
Yeah, that's about
certainly
as close
moved
as you
me.
can get. To a bigger house.
Whee!
Okay.
There he goes. All right.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. All right, then okay, so we did it. Like end of plot. The plot is over.
Yeah, that's the end of the Tobias plot. So
It's really the plot.
Well, there's this whole school dance plot too.
Who gives a shit?
We've been teasing this the whole time. We've been setting up the school dance. There's a whole plan. We find out from Marco around here, they're gonna, like I said, they're gonna collapse the floor in the gym when they crown the spring swing queen king or some shit. So they got to stop it. So we've got a whole lot more to talk about here with regards to this. So what happens here is that Rachel turns into a skunk and everybody runs away because there's a skunk. So the day is saved. Hooray!
Yep.
A skunk! Yay! It's over.
Because it doesn't matter.
Somehow the dance was a trap, but
Yeah,
now
they were
Rachel
gonna
turned
spike
into a
the
skunk.
punch or something. They were gonna like poison the kids, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. So the plots are all resolved. The school dance skunked the Hugo Tobias father. They're all at Siberia. Jake
Epilogue.
is like,
Epilogue, I said.
Yeah, epilogue. They're all at
Coda.
Siberia. Jake's like, in a sense, the Yerks still won because they took away our dance, which, the fuck are you talking about, Jake? Like,
He
Jake's
wanted to
the
dance
guy...
with Rachel.
But, like, of all of the people to be all like, but don't you think that in some sense... Jake doesn't give a fuck about... Jake was the one who started off being like, I don't care about that. Like, I don't... Did he go through an arc?
Just playing
he went through
coy.
a character arc.
Because he loves Cassie now.
Anyway, Axe says, I don't know,
Saw her
Jake.
in that dress, and he was like, va va voom.
Maybe, Jake, says Axe, maybe dances don't come from a store. Maybe dances, he said, are a little bit more. And he says, why don't we just, all the students are here and they're all dressed up and there's a jukebox, we could just have the dance here. And everyone's like, yay, so the Yerks didn't win after all, because we still get to have our dance.
Yay!
And Tobias shows up and dances with Rachel.
Axe saved the day!
And Axe is kind of moving on, sliding on into Marco. Marco's like, don't even think about it, Axe. And then he turns and goes, actually, you know what, Axe? Maybe you can think about it. And then, and Axe is like, oh my god, my dreams have come true. And then he gets to dance with Marco.
Mm-hmm.
That does happen. I'm not joking. I could have
That's
been
the
riffing,
no.
but that
That Axe and
it's real.
Marco do dance together.
Yeah, and that is how it happens. Axe is like coming on to him.
He's
there's
excited to dance as a friend. Come on.
It
Why do you
didn't
gotta
seem like
make
that to
everything?
me.
Yeah, I know what it seemed like to you, you sick fuck. They're pals.
You don't think that Axe is into Marco?
No.
You of all people think that anyone isn't into Marco?
I think there's like a baseline level of attraction between anyone and Marco, but not any more than that.
I don't know. He really seems like he's getting all up into
Go
Marco
write some
here.
fan fiction. Get it out of your
It just
system.
looks like that to me.
Mm-hmm.
There is a line I want to highlight here.
Oh God, you're still going.
Okay. So earlier on,
I'm just gonna leave. Goodbye, everybody.
It's fine. Elfangor says to Tobias, "I would gladly sacrifice forever with strangers for a single moment with someone I love."
Aw.
Now that Tobias is dancing with Rachel, he says the same thing.
Aw.
I would gladly sacrifice forever with strangers for a single moment with someone
Just talk a
I
little bit
love.
faster if you could. Just like a little faster.
No, because I'm going to have to say it again because I think it's really important that people understand exactly what the line is. Because
Just we're
Rachel
going real
responds.
long. Just
Rachel,
trying to.
John. Okay, fine. You know what? I won't even talk about it. Do you know what? You don't want to hear it. We won't talk about it.
No,
It's good.
I want to hear it. Go ahead.
Because
Go
Rachel
ahead.
hears this fucking line and she's like, "Oh, that's beautiful. What is that? Shakespeare?" And I'm just over here like, can you imagine sitting here and like, what the fuck kind of ego do you have to write out a sappy line like that and then write a character saying, "Wow, that writing is so beautiful, it must have come from Shakespeare"? Fuck off, Ron Oliver. You're not Shakespeare. Fuck you. That's the point I'm trying to get at here.
I think it's. I think it's more that
Shakespeare?
Rachel's just really stupid.
Ron Oliver wrote that. He wrote the first line and then he wrote a character saying that sounds like Shakespeare. That's what he thinks of this. He thinks that this three-parter is Shakespearean.
No. I think it's more that he's writing for dumb kids and he's like, what's he going to say? Like, kids know who Shakespeare is, so it's a reference you can safely make and you're not going to get sued. I don't think there's any thought put into it.
She could just be like, "Aw, that's beautiful." No, he chose to reference Shakespeare.
Right.
He's over here. He's getting too big for his britches. I'm going to take him out of those britches. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, come on.
I'm getting those britches right off him.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
Anything else?
No, that was all I wanted to say about that.
A line I was asleep at that point. Okay. Look, they're done. It doesn't matter. Who cares?
The TV show's over. Isn't this momentous? It's all over now. That's the big finale.
This sucks. It's too late in the day. By the way, Will was late again this week, and so it's very late.
It's fine.
And I'm tired, and that's why I'm grumpy now. I'm like, it's dinner time.
You should be excited because now this is the big
I'm
fireworks finale. The show is over. We're done talking about it. We'll never have to talk about it again.
Tobias doesn't tell them that his dad is Elfangor.
Nope. He says that his dad said that line. He doesn't say that his dad's Elfangor, though, which is kind of weird.
They have a nice moment when they dance. You know what I liked is in the books when he comes to the dance. That is one of my favorite moments in the books.
Do you mean like the scholarship thing?
I don't know. Doesn't he? Is it not a dance? Doesn't he come to a dance at some point?
He does that too. But I thought you really liked the one where he like first shows up, where Rachel doesn't know he can turn into a boy.
Yeah, maybe it's that. I mean, look, what do you want me to do? Remember the differences? I don't.
I mean,
it all
I
happened.
like him at the dance too.
Sure. Look, we can talk about this more next week, but I'll just to sum up, I think these episodes are not really a good wrap up to the series. I also think they're not the worst that you could have done. We can talk about it more next week. I don't think we have time. I mean, I don't. You need to summarize if you want to, but my brain is exploding. I can't be here anymore. This is too much. I don't know. I got nothing else. I got nothing left. You drained me.
All the
I'm
gas
empty.
is out of the tank here. Yeah, I mean, listen. Yeah, we basically said there's no reason for this to be a three-parter. There's no reason for any of this to be like other than the reveal of Tobias's father. I guess you can close on that, but it's not really tied to anything. It doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't really wrap up anything. Like none of this is anything. It's just, kind of another episode, I guess. Um it's weird because it does feel like with the three-parter and the big Tobias plotline, like it's trying to be a conclusion. Like it's not trying to be another random episode and then they just ran out, but it also just isn't. But I guess Face Off had that problem too. So I don't fucking know. I don't know. Show's over, folks. Go home.
Listen, next week we're putting our money where our mouths are.
Are we?
Yeah. We think we're so smart. We think the show's so bad. Let's see us do better.
We're making our own Animorphs TV show and releasing it next week.
No, the subject, and I'm sorry to steal your thunder for your next time on, but I do think we need to explain it to folks.
No, we do. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Next week, what we are going to be doing is having a discussion about what our ideal version of an Animorphs adaptation would be. And I'm sorry that I don't know if anyone will have finished this episode by the time that one comes out. But if you do, then we would love to hear your thoughts on that subject. You can email us, theyerkyboys@gmail.com. We're going to be talking about what we think how it would be best served either as a movie or a TV show. What our pie in the sky dream Animorphs is.
Yeah, and this is also going to be kind of our avenue for any like finishing wrap up thoughts on the series because like honestly there's not we've said most of them. It's not as much of a coherent whole as the book. So, most of our overall thoughts will probably be addressed just in terms of like how would we do it. But if you have any thoughts as to that, you can also write in with that as well.
Yeah. Show's over,
Did you even
folks.
say where you could write us?
Yeah, I did. I said it. It's in the show notes. Don't worry. They'll find it.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's fine. Cool. Get the fuck out of here, everyone. Stop listening to us. Why are you still here?
Jesus Christ. Are you going to say something, though?
I don't know. Were you going to fucking... Did you?
No, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done.
Tune in next time. We'll be talking about our visions for an Animorphs adaptation. So, on the Yerky Boys. Is that good?
No.
Better than that?
Yeah, it's fine.